welcome to episode 89 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm your host, Dills, and with me is Deegan.
Hey, how's it going?
It's pretty good. So this week we will be talking about a little bit more of the Theater of Blood, sort of the aftermath of the whole thing. We have some long-awaited quality of life updates that they've proposed months ago, but I guess understandably they've taken some time to actually bring it out. We have an update on the DeadMan Summer Finals tournament, and I guess just a few random things, nothing. You'll have to wait and see what we're going to talk about later on then. Anyways, Deegan, so how was your week? What have you been up to?
It's a good question. Pretty much nothing, actually. Like, I've been playing a lot of RS and been kind of pushed into playing the new Battle Royale game called Realm Royale. It's fucking stupid. It's a really dumb
Realm
game.
Royale.
It's like your typical Battle Royale, but like now you have abilities and special, you can shoot fireballs and jump around. Like it's dumb.
Okay. This whole Royale phase that's going on right now, it's a bit tiresome.
Yeah, it's pretty. Hey man, Gears of War Battle Royale. It's a thing now. It's going to be coming out soon.
You're kidding
Gears of
me.
War. I'm serious. Yeah, they're having their own battlegrounds. It's like the new MOBA or like survival simulator. Like it's weird, these phases.
Yeah, video games go through these phases where it was like zombies for a while and still like that kind of died off. And then it came, remember the dinosaur phase where there's a bunch of dinosaur games coming out, the survival dinosaur.
A little bit. Hey, I know there's a couple that came out.
Yeah, it felt like that was the newest thing that was about to happen, along with the whole survival games. Is that how you would classify them? Like Rust,
crafting, survival, shitty games. Yeah,
I know there's been a bunch because now we have this Royale phase that's happening.
Yeah,
and it's a cool idea. It is fun, but my problem with it is that it seems like every single week there's the newest Royale game and everyone's just moved on from the last one. I bought The Culling a while ago and that was the newest. That was like the big Royale game. Everyone's jumping on that train. Nobody plays it anymore. That game just sits in my Steam library.
Because it's bad. It's a really bad game.
That's the problem. It's like, it's good.
The combat was based on rock, paper, scissors. There was like, you would attack with melee weapons and there was attack, shove, and block. You know, so like if someone's blocking, you shove, someone's attacking, you block.
Yeah.
Someone's shoving, you attack. And like, that game was shit. I mean, they're all pretty shit. And the thing is, all like my friends are like, they all do that. Like whatever is the hot new Royale game, they're all playing. And it's like, you can come play with us. Like, oh, I'm playing RuneScape right now. Oh, and then like the next day, oh, you want to come play with us? No, I'm playing RuneScape. And then eventually I get bored and I'm like, okay, what game are you guys playing? We're playing Realm Royale. What the fuck is this? Well, it's different because when you die and you go in your down state, you turn to a chicken and you run around as a chicken for 30 seconds. It's awesome. You're like, this is, and then you sit there and you play and you're like, yeah, this is kind of fun, but the second I'm done, I'm uninstalling it because no one's going to be playing it afterwards.
Yeah.
It's annoying. But anyways, enough about that. So I kind of was burnt out, honestly. So after we recorded, I think it was the next day, I don't know, a lot of my friends quit playing RS. Like a lot. I had like 5 or 6 buddies just quit playing. And I PVM'd with 2 of them. And some of them are just like, you know, I just played with or I would chat to, right? But so many people fucking quit this week. It's so weird.
Is it a hard quit where they're messaging you being like, I'm quitting, I don't have time for this anymore, or I'm just not enjoying the game? Or is it a soft quit? You just stop noticing them coming on?
They like got burnt out.
Yeah, because like a soft quit, I just made this up right now, or maybe it is a thing, I don't even fucking know. But that's something where I'm like, I look at my friends list, and I remember, or I noticed a certain player just hasn't been on in a long time. And you're like, what happened to this person? I haven't seen them on in months.
Yeah, it comes from burnout. So I think what the issue is that all my buddies, including myself, were like super hyped for Theater of Blood. And then day one, no one could beat it. And then they're like, oh, well, now I need to get a T-bow to actually be able to do Theater of Blood. Or, like, I have to wait for my friends to get T-bows. That type of a thing. Like, everyone's like, well, you can only do it with the best gear, so I'm not doing it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've had, like, some people were telling me that it was, like, the difficulty was kind of obscure. Like, half the difficulty is making sure your friends don't kill you. I've had some people complain about that. I think a lot of the people just, they don't enjoy the raid, or I don't really, maybe it's not even directly linked to Theater of Blood. I know a lot of people are getting burnt out, though, and so I've had, like, no one to really PVM with. And then I was like, fuck, man, everyone's fucking quitting on me right as Theater of Blood comes out. Like, this is when you actually want to be playing a lot to make money.
Do you think it's because of the RuneScape culture when it comes to playing the game, where most people, they want to be able to take on a boss and maybe have a trouble for a couple times, but after that, they want to be able to farm that boss easily, where it's like a brain-numbing activity. Whereas other games, because there's a bunch of MMOs that have raids in it, where they're super difficult, and it takes you as an individual a while to actually learn the fights, unless you're going to watch a guide. But even when you watch the guide, it's not going to be good. So not only do you need to know the fights, you also need to depend on your other teammates to know the fight as well, because if they mess up, as you said, they could cause you to die. Do you think it's like a difference in culture with RuneScape players versus other MMORPG players?
Well, I think the main thing is, like, in WoW, at least in my experience, this is like when a new raid came out, week 1, we're like, cool, all right. So Wednesday, Thursday, because we're not like a hardcore raiding guild, you know, like we're just like a bunch of friends from like 2 games that got like mashed together. It's like, okay, new raid came out Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to do it on normal. And then Wednesday night, or like the first attempt on Thursday, we finish it on normal. And then we do Thursday to do some of the boss on heroic. And then Friday, Saturday was dedicated to heroics. Generally, we'd have the heroics done on Saturday. If not, it would be like Friday the next week. Because like Wednesday, Thursday was just like week 1 type of a thing and alt runs, but like you don't have to do those. But like the Friday, Saturday is like when you're really raiding. That's when like it's like more serious. But it would be like 2 weeks at most, like 3 raid nights of like learn the raid and then it's on farm. And it's like, oh, okay, that's fun. Okay. And then you would just like do it, because a lot of the WoW mechanics, I mean, it's just different, right? Like people are used to like, don't stand here, don't stack. Okay, so now stack, pop cooldowns. Plus you have like add-ons that like tell you, right? But like, WoW, it's been like that's how raids have been for forever, right? RuneScape, it's like dungeoneering. Oh, you died? Yeah, it's fine. Go make some more food. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And like, this is more similar to like a traditional raid. And if they're not used to like that type of a raiding experience of having to sit there and like, okay, let's do this again. We got this. But every time you wipe, you have to kill every single boss again. Like in other MMOs, if you guys haven't played like WoW or anything, you can only do them once a week, each difficulty on like each raid once a week. And there's 3 difficulties for each raid. Let's say that you guys like start on a Tuesday, because that's when the raids reset. Start on a Tuesday, you get down 3 bosses, but you've died 1,000,000 times. It's not a big deal, because the next day you can go to boss number 4. Like it saves your progress. But in Theater of Blood, you get to Lady Verzik and then you die. You have to go through every single room again, which is like, okay, now I spent 40 minutes to get one shot because I don't know this boss at all. And so the growing pains of RuneScape is like more punishing than like any other raid, I guess, in other games. Plus the gold fee in comparison to other games is like percentage-wise much higher.
Yeah.
Like in WoW, you have like, you know, 1,000,000 gold and you're spending like 50 of it to repair like after 30 wipes, you know?
They're very similar in a lot of senses, but they're also very different. Like the way gold is treated in WoW versus RuneScape, completely different, but the actual mechanics of a raid, you can compare them, right? They're both MMOs, and you're both you have the same goal in mind when you're doing the raid.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, Theater of Blood's much more punishing than any other MMO.
Yep.
There's probably, like, one week, but Deegan, they're super Realm Royale MMO that like when you die in a raid, you die in real. I don't fucking know that game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying typically it's way more punishing. And like, if you're new to that experience, it's just frustration and then people quit.
Yep.
Or they could even be like, well, this person sucks and I don't want to raid with them anymore. And then you're like, fuck. Now I'm going to go find someone else to replace them. But for me, like, everyone just kind of was like, yeah, I'm really burnt out. Like, hey, man, you want to change this, Eric? Honestly, dude, I'm selling off my bank as we speak. I'm going to go dump it into some shit and just, like, quit for a couple months. And you're like, oh, okay, well, let me talk to these guys and see if I can, like, convince them to, like, gear up for raids. Honestly, man, I'm just getting bored of this game. Like, everyone, like, within, like, 3 days, like, most of my buddies quit the game. So I was, like, super burnt. Like, there was, like, 2 days or something where I just, like, was in limbo, where, like, I wanted to play RS, but I really didn't want to, and I didn't know what else to do. So my free time was, like, Netflix. She's like, fuck, I don't know what to do, man. Okay, I'm gonna go for a walk.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go do something different. Anyways, I guess it's kind of a long story, but I've just kind of taken a break from PVM. I'm just going to focus on doing Elite Diaries and skilling because I should have that by now, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I do? I did a little bit of mining, not much, but I've done mainly runecrafting and a lot of merching on the GE.
Secret merching?
Yeah, like I dumped my whole cast stack and like a couple items, and I'm kind of regretting it. But I will see in like 2 months from now.
I'm flipping some of the Theater of Blood uniques, and my money's gone.
And I need a lend.
Yeah. I have a RuneScape GoFundMe where you guys can donate.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Because honestly, I was kind of tempted to just stake some of my bank. Just because, like, well, everyone quit. Who gives a fuck? I'll rebuild. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to skill. And just because I honestly, it was like a 50-50 if I was going to keep playing or not.
Mm-hmm.
If I started skilling, it was more of like a Hail Mary. It's like, I really don't want to quit playing, but I really don't want to play. So I've just been like, funny enough, I choose runecrafting.
Yeah, let's just do the worst possible thing in the game.
That's kind of the whole point, though. It's like, if I don't want to play this game, and like, I could have bought like 99 herb lore and or crafting, depending on how I went about it. I could have just got some 99s, or like, I could have got 99 farming or prayer. I could have just bought them. Not all of them, obviously. Who do you think I am? But I could have bought like a couple of them. But that shit's so boring. Like, I've done enough Bibles. I mean, they're not 99, but like, I know the process, right? And it's like, I want to like try something new.
Yep.
So my plan was, I'll do some mining, see how that is. I'll do some runecrafting because I need 82 runecrafting for pretty much like just the Fremnik elites. That's all I really need them for now. Mm-hmm. And then once I'm done that, I'll just do some hunter. Like, I'll just do random shit. And then if I end up hating it, then I'll take a little break.
Yeah, fair.
So long story longer. I'm runecrafting a lot. What'd you do this week?
Ooh, this is exciting. This is going to be a good talk we got coming up. So, myself, I probably mentioned it last week. I get a little bit of an amnesia thing going after we record, and I forget about what we talk about because my notes that I take are shit. I do little keywords to help jog my memory, but then sometimes I forget what the hell the keyword is meant for.
20 cooking apples. Okay, I know I put that down for some reason.
Yeah,
the fuck does that mean?
For fuck's sake.
Found 3 empty buckets. Okay. All right.
Oh boy. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, anyways, I had a master clue last week, and, I love my clue scrolls, so I had to get 77 rune crafting, so I had to craft a blood rune, which, requires 77 for the master clue. And I decided, fuck it, let's get the rune crafting up a bit. I need to eventually. I kind of had this, not revelation, but I just started thinking, like, basically what I've been doing whenever I have nothing else to do on old school RuneScape, I just do Slayer. Because Slayer I find fun, it's good money, you train not only Slayer, you train all your stats up. But you get a variety of monsters that you kill, and sometimes you get a boss task, and you're like, oh, cool, maybe I'll get some tacits from this Bando's task, even though it's going to take me forever to solo 35 kills. It's something different, and it changes things up a bit. But I'm getting close to 99. I'm at 97 right now. And I started thinking...
Wait. What's your experience?
Oh, here we go. I have basically 1 mil experience left till 98.
Dude, we're like at the exact same.
I have 1 mil 600 experience till I level up.
Okay, I got like 1 mil 60k.
Oh, solid.
Yeah, not bad.
I started thinking, and maybe, I don't know if you've thought about this as well, but I guess I'll ask you, when you get 99 Slayer, do you see yourself continuing to do Slayer tasks?
Yeah, I think most people do post 99 Slayer at some point.
Now, the only reason I can think of doing that is for one, you're pet hunting, and two, and mainly it's because the Slayer helmet is just so good. It's like the best in slot helmet for everything, for the most part. So you're going to want to use that if you're killing bosses. Let's say, so right now I have this is going to tie into what I'm doing this week as well, but right now I have a Dagannoth task, and I decided, okay, I should stop cannoning the Dagannoths at the lighthouse, because I'm not really rushing to 99. I've already got all the milestones that are important for Slayer, besides the Slayer Cape, which really isn't that important. So I'm in no rush to get to 99. I should stop doing the cannon tasks, and if I can do like a boss variant instead, I should be doing that. So I decided I'm going to do the Dagannoth Kings. This way I can make some money, I can change things up, maybe go for the pet a bit. Part of me is worried that once I get 99 Slayer, I'm going to be in this kind of like a limbo, like you were saying, where I'm not going to be sure on what to do. Because I'm not just going to keep doing tasks unless I need the Slayer points for some reason. But I'm not going to go for 200 mil Slayer experience. There's no way in hell I'll go for that, right?
I hope not.
I'm struggling just to get 10 mil. So, yeah, I need to slow it down. Now that I have this Dagannoth task, I figured I should slow down with the Slayer grind and kind of work towards my Elite Diaries as well. So right now I'm working towards the Fremennik Elite Diaries so that I can get the noted Dagannoth bones from the Dagannoth Kings.
Yep.
And this way you can get a fair chunk of change from killing them. I have like 190 I'm going to need to kill. This will get me a lot of cash, because I think Dagannoth bones are, 10k a piece?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, around there, give or take. So I'm working towards that, which means I need to get 82 Runecrafting. I need to get like 80 Thieving, I think. 80 Crafting. I'm going to need to get... Here, I have it all right here. Let me just check. 80 craft... Oh, it's 80 Crafting and 80 Agility. Oh, God help me.
Well, you can Summer Pie boost and stuff.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, I don't know. I should level it up eventually. I hate Agility. I hate it more than Runecrafting. Runecrafting is god-awful. I mean, Agility is god-awful. Runecrafting...
I mean, now you probably don't mind doing it.
Oh, I love it. And I guess we can get into this discussion. We both had to train Runecrafting. I'm assuming you're going for 82 as well?
Yep.
Oh shit, the race is on. So, what level did you start at this week?
74.
I had 72. Okay, cool. What was your method of training to get to 77 Runecrafting?
So, this goes back... When I talked about doing my hard diaries, one of my goals for a while was Fremennik Elite Diaries, but I purposely didn't do any Runecrafting because, so at 75, okay, you guys probably know, but like for Runecrafting, at certain levels you unlock rune pouches, or rune essence pouches, where you can store rune essence, blah, 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 blah. And at 75, you get the giant one, which holds 12. So I wanted to do as little Runecrafting as possible until 75. So like I just dumped all my experience lamps into it, went and did all my hard diaries, but like this was like for like a long time I just didn't do any Runecrafting, because it's like every lamp I get that I'm doing, like while I'm like wood cutting or doing something different, saves me a lot of time in the long run, because I want to hit 75, then I have the large pouch, then I can get like optimal rates doing whatever.
Sure.
I did all the hard diaries, put them all into Runecrafting, obviously, and I was like decently close to 75. And I started Runecrafting and I did death runes. Because typically, up until, I guess, 75 Runecrafting, I would put all my experiences from like quests or lamps and stuff, but when I'm deliberately training it, I'm doing like nature runes, double cosmics, or death runes.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I could do that was the most profitable at the time, and I didn't care about how slow it was. I just thought like, well, I'm watching Netflix, I'm making money.
Yeah, exactly.
I did death runes until 75, went and got my giant pouch, and I was like, man, I know I unlocked the blood rune altar at 77, which, like, I like to AFK skilling, but I don't really like doing redwoods.
No, me neither.
It's weird because, like, something about it I just don't really like. Part of it is that I'll, like, look over at my screen and some kid's flaming me that we're chopping in the same world. like, no, these are my 6 red, even though you're here first, like, I'm gonna sit here and just flame you, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, so, you know, hide entity, turn off private chat, and pretend no one's around.
Nice.
Like, woodcutting, I'm not the biggest fan of, and probably should have mentioned that, actually, what I did this week, but fuck it. Yeah, I don't know, fishing and stuff, I just, like, don't really feel like doing it. I don't have the angler outfit for fishing, and I'm not gonna get the trawler outfit yet, I'm too lazy. Like, the angler suit or whatever.
Yeah, it's...
Fishing trawler. I've done like 30 of them and I've gotten boots, so I just kind of don't like doing it. Anyways, and I thought, you know, once I get 77 runecrafting, it's kind of nice because I can like AFK runecrafting at the blood altar, and it's not a bad idea, you know, because it's not the best experience, but it is AFK. Anyways,
it's another alternative to training runecrafting.
So I hit 75 and I was like, fuck it. I've never actually done lava runes. Everyone says it sucks, but I know if I'm like tick perfect, I can get like 70k experience per hour.
Yeah, which is good.
Pretty good, but it's also being tick perfect where like you're one ticking your runes, you're not fucking up and accidentally clicking the goddamn fire altar instead of the earth runes, and you just waste a whole inventory.
It's the exact opposite of AFK.
Yeah. Anyways, I was like, fuck it. So I did some lava runes, and then someone in the CC told me about steam runes, which are almost the same experience. You lose a couple thousand, not that much, but you also make money. And so when you do lava runes, you lose like 300k an hour or some shit.
Ouch.
And steam runes, you make 200k an hour. And I was like, you know what? I'll take a little bit of a hit. So I did some lava runes, but mainly steam, and I did that up until 77. And I averaged like 52 to 55 from like 52 is when I was first learning how to do steam runes and like the combination runes, because it's kind of like really click intensive and like you need the muscle memory to like get good rates.
Yep.
Like you can't, if you're lazy with it, like it's awful experience, but if you sit down and like really focus, you just have some like music you enjoy and you're actually focusing, you can get good experience. And it was kind of nice because typically the only time I'm actually focused on doing something is bossing. And even then, depending on what the boss is, I'm still like looking at the Reddit or like watching a YouTube video, you know, like depending if it's Kraken, I'm not even at my computer.
Yeah.
Cerberus, I like have one eye on just Arus and Gurs, like just for 2 mechanics. I'm just kind of like looking over typically, but yeah. So I was like, you know what? I want to see if I actually enjoy like being you know what I mean? Being super tryhard, EHP, like focusing on whatever. And it actually, like, I actually enjoyed it. It wasn't bad.
Ugh.
You say ugh, but you gotta try it out. I don't know. You gotta sit down and give it a couple hours. Like, once you, like, get used to, like, the rhythm of, like, doing the runes, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I've probably did one run, and I would just instantly assume, you know, I'm not going to be a huge fan of this an hour in. I'm not going to be a huge fan of it 15 minutes in.
I wasn't really digging it at first, but like, because you like misclick and teleport to Clan Wars by accident. You're just like, oh, for fuck's sakes.
There goes 10k an hour experience.
But like, once you like get the muscle memory down, and like on RuneLite, I was using screen tags. So I would box where my magic imbue was. I would box where deposit is, where my dueling ring thing would be. And then I would use F keys, right? Like I'm like one ticking the combination and then opening it up and doing my teleport. And it's like really fun trying to be like as efficient. And it's pretty funny watching people doing combination runes, but they clearly hate it.
Yeah.
Because typically you'll see like 3 or 4 people doing it with you. And like you'll see someone being like really inefficient while they do it. Like they're being really slow. And you're like lapping them. Like I'll get like 3 runs in by the time they do 1. Because you can tell they just hate it. So they're just like AFKing.
Yeah.
And so that kind of found that was fun. But I did that till 77. And I've just been doing blood urns. And I'm at 79. I'll be 80 today. I have 7k till I'm 80.
Nice. Wow. That's pretty good. So what I did was, sorry, let me go back real quick. When you were getting up to 75 or whenever you started to do Steam runecrafting, were you doing, and you said you're doing deaths, were you doing it through the Abyss?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going through the Abyss, then use the Glory to go back to Edgeville. So what I decided to do from level 72 all the way to 77 was ZMI runecrafting. And I've talked about it a couple times before on other episodes, but it's kind of a middle ground between AFK. It's like a middle ground. Like with the Abyss, it's not really that AFK, but it's also not super click intensive. And then ZMI is like a step above that in the sense of AFK-ness. So I did that. It's pretty simple, and tying this into talking about like what I did on mobile, because I think I forgot it last week, just because of the whole Theater of Blood thing. We got a little carried away with that, and I just forgot to mention there's a lot going on. But this week I decided to do a bunch of runecrafting on my phone while I was at work, and if I was doing something around the house. Whenever I had a chance to pull up my phone, I had 10 minutes, I would try to do some ZMI runs. It kind of sucks on the phone. It's just a pain in the ass, just because of the nature of doing things on mobile. So they added this new interface button that you could press it down, and it would allow you to withdraw all whenever you clicked on something in your bank. Yeah, which is great. So you would have that going, you could do that, and it would withdraw everything. But they also have another button that allows you to press it down, and it's the function. It's called like a function button. And what this would do was, if you had it activated, when you clicked on something in your inventory, you would drop it. So that's good, because if you're using rune pouches, you just click those, 1 clicks, and it withdraws the rune essence in your inventory, instead of having to hold it down and then scroll down and click empty.
Like a toggle shift or something?
Yeah, it's basically a toggle shift.
Okay.
But the only problem is that you have to remember to click that off, because you can't fill up your rune pouch with that thing activated. It'll just try to drop the rune pouch.
True.
And same with drinking stamina potions. If you don't have it activated, if you do have it activated, when you go to drink your stam potion, you'll drop it, because you need to do that every now and then with ZMI, just because you're constantly running back and forth. If you don't want to get caught walking at a certain point, you want to be able to have stamina potions whenever you can. So it equals out to like every 3 or 4 runs, you're drinking a stam dose. And another problem with the interface, where when you're using the bank and you have the 1-click withdrawal all, you don't really want to withdraw all your stam potions. You only want to withdraw 1, because if you're filling up your rune pouches, you don't want to have to open up your bank tab for like 4 different times. You want to be able to do it in 3, because it takes like 2 withdrawals of your rune essence to fill up all your rune pouches. So you also have to keep in mind it's going to be costing you like 30 I use mind runes, it's the cheapest rune, but you need to pay 30 of one type of rune to activate that bank. The more you're having to do it, the faster you're going to run out of mind runes. But it just takes longer if you're having to spend a whole couple seconds withdrawing 20 stamina potions just to drink 1 and then depositing the rest. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's because you have that withdrawal all button in your bank, and unless you're going to switch between withdrawal 1, take the stamina potion, put it back to withdrawal all, it's just kind of a pain in the ass. It's tedious, especially if you're at work and you're just picking it up while you're taking a 10-minute break, and you're going to forget to do certain shit. But I did a bunch of that, and it was, kind of tedious on the phone. But overall, I do enjoy it. Going from 72 to 77 runecrafting, I made roughly 6.8 mil. So a large chunk of change. I did like 40,000 rune essences.
Damn.
Something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I would just buy 10,000 at a time whenever I needed it. Brings me to 77 Runecrafting. By the way, got my Master Clue. Got a unique from it, but it was only worth 1 mil. It's the Armadillo Godsword Ornament Kit. It's like
True.
the worst ornament kit.
Yeah.
Anyway, since then I've been doing Blood Runecrafting as well, and I guess this gives us a chance to kind of talk about it. What do you think about it? Because there's a small minority of people that don't want to make certain skills easier because they're probably going for 200 mil experience and they've probably had to suffer through a lot of it, and having people being able to get to 200 mil easier, it kind of devalues their grind a little bit.
Okay, if you're going from 77 to 99 Runecrafting, which is... How much experience is that? Like 12 mil, maybe? Maybe like 12 mil?
Yeah, it's about 12 mil.
Yeah, like 11.8 mil or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's about 300 hours? Maybe 350 hours?
Yeah, you get like 30k experience doing blood runes.
So, realistically, like, I don't think they're... Like, if you're going for 200 mil experience, you're not worried about someone doing blood runes. Because if it's like 300 to 350 hours to get like 12 mil experience, like they could have maxed a couple accounts by the time they got 200 mil. Like it'll take them thousands and thousands and thousands of hours if they're just doing blood runes.
Yeah, that's fair. Like it's half the experience that you would get doing lava runes, right?
Yeah, a little bit more than half, but yeah, it's still really slow. I don't know exactly why other people... Okay, so I like doing blood runes. I like doing it because it's something AFK that's not fishing or woodcutting, which I don't really like doing. And it's, it's nice and AFK, but mainly it's because I'm leveling up runecrafting at the same time. And the thing with runecrafting, everyone hates it because you have to click a lot, but it turns it into like an AFK skill, which defeats the whole purpose of runecrafting.
Generally,
if you don't like runecrafting and you want 99, either you don't do it or you just do blood runes to 99 and you just take the time loss. You just watch Netflix or something, or like what I do is I play Slay the Spire and I watch Netflix and I'll be at the blood rune altar. And there's people that like they do it on their main and they're playing their alts the whole time, Maybe they're doing gargoyles, maybe they're PKing, who knows what they're doing, but it is so fucking AFK. Like, Motherlode Mine, okay, let me compare it to mining, is that, like, some people didn't like Motherlode Mining because it was AFK compared to, like, what mining should be, how mining's very click-intensive, but Motherlode Mining is AFK, but not really. Like, you kinda have to be paying attention to it the whole time, because the veins, you get 3 or 4 out, and it's like, you gotta go find a new vein. Like, it's
good for watching Netflix, but it's not good for playing another game.
It's more AFK, but it's not super AFK. Like, I think that Blood Runes is, like, really AFK. Like, it's kind of gross.
It's in between Motherlode Mining and, like, wood cutting.
Like redwoods or something. Yeah, I don't know. But the main thing is, I don't know. I'm probably explaining this super shittly, but if someone did runecrafting before Blood Runes were a thing, it was because they maybe they botted it, but let's pretend that doesn't happen. Like, they probably just enjoyed it, or they just put up with it. Like, it was a task, because it's really slow, but more importantly, like, for 70k an hour, you're like, that's not max rates, that's really close to max rates. Lava Runes, I think, is if you're tick perfect 72k, but... Mm-hmm. Let's just say, you're getting like 65, 70k, which is pretty good, pretty competitive rates. Like, that is very, like, go do an hour of lava runes. And then now you know what some people did to get 99. And they did that for like hours and hours. So let's just say you average at like 60k runecrafting an hour, which like, I was getting up to 50, like, by the time I stopped doing steam runes, I was getting 55k pretty consistently for like the last hour and a bit. And I only did it for like 5 or so hours. I didn't do it that long. So that's pretty much what 60,000 runecrafting would be for lava runes. So let's just pretend I did lava runes, right? So let's say you're doing lava runes and you've done it for a couple hours and you like have the muscle memory. You can do it without like, okay, now let me slowly click. Like you're clicking pretty fast.
Yep.
And you'll get 60k an hour runecrafting, and let's pretend you're doing like magic imbue as well. So you can actually make the runes. You're not bringing a talisman, which you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You get like with that runecrafting rate, you're getting like almost 11k magic experience per hour. So
Okay,
it's
something.
It's so the total like macro wise, it's 71k an hour, like for magic and runecrafting put together.
Gotcha.
That's what I mean when I say macro. I mean like when you add everything that you're doing at the same time. Is like not just runecrafting, you're also training magic. So it's super click intensive. You're getting 60k an hour and like a little bit under 11k magic an hour. And then if you do blood runes, which is like easily like 30 times less click intensive. Like you can click it and then watch a whole scene in a show, or I click it and I'm like, I do a whole turn and Slay the Spire, glance over, the creatures do their turns, I do another turn because it's a turn-based game, and I'm still doing blood runes.
Let's quickly explain the whole process of blood runes, because if someone's runecrafting, they might not be at 77 yet. What you need to do, get your Arceus favor to, I think it's 100%. Do that first. Not runecrafting related, but you need to have that in order to use the altar, because that's where it is. It's on Zaya. You have the dark altar, and then you have these dark essence veins. These like
they're dense essence, dude. Like these things that you mine, and you get these blocks. They're like rune essence, but they're square, so they're cubes,
and they take up one space per.
Yeah. And what you do is you mine a full inventory, and then you run to the dark altar where you would reanimate your like ensouled heads and stuff. You would click it, you do some shit, it changes the colors of your dense things, it changes the color of them. Then you would use a chisel on each block, or whatever's the lowest one in your inventory, and it turns them into like shards. And then you would go back to where you were mining before, mine another inventory, minus you keep the chisel obviously, and you keep the shards. So when you go back and you use the altar again, that's when you run to the blood altar and you have like 2 inventories worth.
Yeah, because the shards stack, but you can only have like 104 or 108 shards in a stack before you're just wasting the blocks.
Yeah.
So you need to have a full inventory of the dense rune essence, and then you need to have 1 slot of 104 shards.
Then you go up to the altar, turns the shards into blood runes, and then you use your chisel on the blocks, chisel down your blocks, then you use the shard, or you use the altar again, turns the rest of your shards in your inventory into more blood runes, and then you take an agility shortcut right to where the stone is, and you just cut.
The only part that's not AFK is like it's walking to the actual altar, the blood altar and the dark altar.
So here's the thing. After this is a little pro tip that I just kind of like figured out was once you use the altar and you're gonna once you use the altar to turn your like dark essence into your essence into like the dark essence that you chisel, and you're gonna run to the altar, you can just click on the high ground and half the run you're just AFKing.
Yeah, that part's nice. And then there's the whole process of chiseling down the dark essence. The dense essence blocks.
Yeah.
That one, you can spam click it or use mouse keys to quickly chisel them all. But if you really want to AFK it, you can just click one time and you'll do it in like 10 times slower, but it'll automatically go through every dense essence block. Because I was at my in-laws the other day for a barbecue, and we showed up way too early because they live like an hour away, and we got the times mixed up. So we had like an hour to 2 hours of hanging out with the in-laws' grandparents, or grandparents' in-laws. Anyways, there's a few times, there's a lot of downtime where I was sitting outside. I'd pull out the phone. I'd be talking with them while I'm playing RuneScape. I didn't want to sit there and spam click my chisel and the block, so I would just like let it take 5 minutes to chisel them all down.
I mean, I did mouse keys because you don't lose any time when you're running back to to the altar and stuff. You can mouse key the whole inventory, and then before you even get to the shortcut.
But I was just saying that because maybe you're doing this and you need to take a piss or something. You just click the 2, let him start chiseling. You run off, use the washroom. You come back, and he's chiseled the whole inventory.
Yeah, we probably should have explained the process. For, like, combination runes, so lava and steam, if you don't have a 99 crafting, which let's pretend you don't, you teleport, like, you start off at Castle Wars or whatever. You get your full inventory and your 2 pouches because you bring the large and the giant pouch. And you bring your stack of runes, all that jazz. You bring a rune pouch with... I have a picture of it in Discord, but like you get all these... You have to bring all this like different gear. You bring like a staff, like a mist staff, tome of fire. All this random-ass, janky-ass gear. Anyways, you teleport to the duel arena. Run up to the fire altar as you like pass... Like, as you're getting towards the fire altar, you use magic imbue, you enter, you run up to the altar, you use your rune, like your earth or your water, depending on which combination, onto the altar, empty out your pouches, you do it again, teleport to the Castle Wars, and you just go between Castle Wars and Duel Arena. And so you run through a lot of rings of dueling. You also have to have binding necklaces, and obviously staminas. So there's a lot of memorizing and micromanaging of your jewelry, because especially if you fuck up doing the combination runes with your necklace, like typically if you don't, once you start off and you have like 8 charges in your dueling ring and 16 on your binding necklace, for every second time you're replacing your dueling rings, you can do a binding necklace, but you mess up one teleport or one binding and now it's all thrown off. So, like, you can't, like, get 2 of them at the same... Anyways, you gotta, like, micromanage your jewelry, like, really well. You gotta run back and forth. It's very click-intensive if you want to get max rates. They're, like, on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And if you look at runecrafting and how... When you're doing blood runes, it's really AFK. I've said that, like, a million times. But you get... I think the max rates for blood runes is, like, 38k runecrafting. You get, like, 5k mining and, like, 6.8k crafting experience. So you add that up. I mean, I did what my rates were. I don't know what my rates were exactly, but I was getting 46k total, which is a little bit more than half of lava runes, macro-wise. Like, for runecrafting specifically, it's also more than half. But if it's, like, effort and reward, it's not really fair.
What do you mean?
You put very little effort in when you're doing blood runes, and you put way too much effort when you're, like... So much effort that, like, your wrist gets, like, a little funky feeling, like, 2 hours into it, and, like, every downtime, you're sitting there, like, doing little stretches with your wrist, trying to loosen it up again. Like, it's actually that, like, click-intensive. And you barely get any more runecrafting experience out of it.
Yeah, true.
So, I think the people that did 99 runecrafting and had to do lava runes because it was the fastest and shit, and then blood runes came out, and they got really upset, like, I now understand why exactly they're upset.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can see it, but at the same time, I understand why they added this new method of runecrafting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't... with blood runes, I can now actually see myself sometime in the future getting 99 runecrafting. Beforehand, out of the question. I never would have maxed it. But with this new method... it would take a long time, don't get me wrong, but I look at it and I go, hey, maybe when that new Elder Scroll game comes out, I'll just spend the whole time runecrafting. Eventually, I'll just get it kind of passively while I'm playing these new games that come out.
Yeah, but isn't that, like, the definition of devaluing something? In terms of RuneScape, I mean, like, the value of... If you had a runecrafting cape a couple years ago... People were like, fuck, man, that guy really likes double nats or something, right? Like, this guy really likes making money doing Abyss Altar, or, you know, maybe he's one of those EHP guys and he just did lava runes or something, but this guy really put in a lot of effort for a long time, like, real effort of, like, focusing and, like, Hot Pockets mom, you know, give me my chicken tendies, like, all that type of shit. Using up, like, they used all their good boy points just so they could get 99 runecrafting. Yeah, but now you see someone with runecraft, like, and I just assumed that they just AFK'd for 300 hours at the blood altar. Like, I don't really, like, I used to, like, when Oldschool first came out and you'd see, like, 1 or 2 runecrafting capes, you're like, fuck, that's pretty dope. And I remember like talking to people being like, what methods did you do? Yeah, do you think I should do the same thing? Like I would talk to them and ask them about runecrafting because they, you know, they had 99. But now it's like, it's not like everyone's walking around with a runecrafting cape.
No, I still see it and I go, ooh, wow. I know there's somebody in the CC who their first 99 was runecrafting, and it made me just scratch my head.
Regardless, you're like, yeah, nice, like good job. That's dope. Like it's still a lot of time, right? It's still, but it's definitely doesn't hold the same value as it did a long time ago. It's still, you know,
I think it's kind of depending on your perspective.
Like you look at someone wearing a cooking cape, which my buddy like often jokes about is the best in slot Slayer cape. Because you see like noobs rocking a cooking cape while they do Slayer. If they don't have a fire cape, they'll use like cooking cape or something.
Okay, yeah.
It's so easy to get. I'm not saying that runecrafting is anywhere near that. It's obviously on the exact opposite side of the spectrum, but like it made it a little bit less. What's the word I'm looking for?
Made it so it's actually a reasonable goal for casual players.
Yeah, but it makes it like less special. Does that make sense?
Yeah, although I find, in my opinion, that if it does devalue it a little bit, it is very minor because of how long it'll take you double the time to do it through Bloods. You know what I mean? I still think it's kind of an impressive skill to get. I still see people who are going for a maxed account that usually runecrafting is one of the last skills they get up.
Yeah. Keep in mind, I'm not saying blood runes like, oh, if you have 99, you're fucking, you little bitch. Like I've been doing blood rune crafting like this whole week and shit. Mm-hmm. Well, not whole week, but the past couple days. And I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know if I'd be able to get 99 rune crafting. If anything, I would like before blood runes. If anything, I would just do an hour or two a day.
Mm-hmm.
Because I get like doing like lava runes and shit really like maybe it's because I have shitty wrists and stuff, but like you can feel it. Like your wrist feels like kind of like stiff after a couple hours of it.
Yeah, and I doubt you're even having that much fun.
I don't mind it. It's kind of like when you take a really good nap.
Yeah.
So it's like that, but you're more tired. So you pretty much what I'm saying is you kind of like black out. You're an hour in, you black out, and 2 hours pass, and you're like, oh, cool. Because you just go into autopilot. You just start like, at least for me, I just start zoning out, thinking about random shit. And the next thing I know, I'm like, fuck, my wrist is really sore, and I gotta go to the bathroom.
It's all swollen up.
Got an ice pack on it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying. I think it's still a good thing for the game. I feel like they should have some of the most tedious skills. They should have alternatives to make it less tedious. You know what I mean? It sucks that you might be able to get so close to a maxed account, but then you look at runecrafting, you look at agility, and you just go, I'll be in everything but this skill. You know what I mean? I'll get everything else to 99 except for agility because I can't spend 30 hours grinding it out.
Well, it's more of like an attitude thing, right? Some people don't mind putting in the effort to get it done. Runecrafting's a perfect example is you did ZMI, which is like in the middle, right? It's not the best experience. Like it's what?
No, I was getting maybe 30k. I was getting like 30k to 35k an hour going hard.
Like 70 to 79, and the max rate is like 35k.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to, you know, lava runes, which you can do it. I'm only bringing up lava runes because on the opposite side, it's like super try hard. But from like level 23 and up, it's like upwards of 72k an hour, where like effort really pays out. So I guess like a better thing is if you look at wood cutting compared to agility, what do you think's more impressive?
Agility, but the question is it really impressive? Or are you just looking there being like...
Well, I mean, it's a game, right? It's not like, roll out the red carpet, this guy's got 99 agility. Like, no one's saying that. But, like, if you see, like, two dudes following each other at the GE, and one's wearing, like, a wood-cutting cape, and the other one's wearing, like, an agility cape, you're kind of like, nice, you know? That guy's got an agility cape. That's pretty cool. The fuck's wrong with him? And, like, the main thing is that, like, one watched Netflix while they got the skill, and the other one, like, botted No, I'm kidding. One just
Played Royale, that new Royale game. I forget what it's called.
Realm Royale. I call it Chicken Royale because you turned to a chicken.
Chicken Royale.
And that's its big pull to the community. No, but like, yeah, one was like watching Netflix and like, you know, playing Stardew Valley or something. And then the other one was doing agility with like some music. Maybe they're, you know what I mean? But like they were like more focused and they put in a lot more effort to get it.
Yeah.
Good example. I bumped into some dude who had 200 mil cooking experience and I went, are you fucking serious? That is so dumb. Like, how much did you... I didn't even think, like, wow, that guy one-ticked a lot of Karambwans. He AFK'd for, like, a year cooking sharks or some shit, right?
I guess it's all about perspective.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like... I think that it's kind of nice if there's one or two things that you can't just get away with by AFKing. Hunter is one of them, right?
Yeah.
Construction is one of them. Agility, and then like runecrafting to like runecrafting, but like pretty much, yeah, runecrafting, but
yeah, fair enough. Anyways, there's your Runecraft talk of the week. I think it's fair enough to say we should move on.
Yeah, you wanna move on?
For now, but let's move it on to what we have going on this week in the news.
Alright, so for this week's update, it's patch 4.4, so eligible traps can now be placed on ramps in both Battle Royale and... Oh, wait, sorry, this is Fortnite. Whoops.
I was so confused. I was like, when did they start having patches?
Yeah, no, sorry, that was Fortnite. That was the wrong game.
I was clicking through my internet tabs being like, oh my god, which one is he starting at? Nice.
Yeah, gotta change it up a bit. So... the first thing we're going to talk about is the Theater of Blood feedback tweaks. So, people have been complaining about it, I guess. There's a lot of people. I think more people than I actually realize are complaining about Theater of Blood. So, these are some changes that they want to propose. So, one is the viewing experience for spectators and people in Purgatory, which is, you know, if you die, but your team isn't dead and you're, like, watching, you're in the stands.
Yeah. Purgatory, aka the balcony.
Yeah, they want to have like a lean feature in the duel arena. You know, you can go up there and you can like lean and throw tomatoes and stuff at people.
Yeah, so yeah, when you lean at the duel arena, you get a full view of the actual duel arena.
Yeah, so you can click on certain areas to automatically move your camera and get different viewing angles. And that's the first one. The second one is the midway chests are very RNG based, which we didn't realize it, but I started watching more Theater of Blood. And you would watch Wooks like totally smash every single boss, and then he just gets prayer potions.
Yeah, we talked last week that what we thought the way it worked out was that it was based on how much damage you did and how much damage you took.
Without dying.
Yeah, without dying.
Yeah, that is a factor, but it is a factor. It's not why someone's getting 4 restores and 4 brews. Someone like Wooks, you know, carries a fight and... he gets a mushroom potato, 2 brews, restore, and a prayer potion. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
So, yeah, kind of weird. So they want to propose the way these chests works by implementing a shop system where you get points to spend on. What do you think about that? That is super weird.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask your opinion on it. It's a cool way of doing it, but personally, I kind of prefer the other way. I like the idea of you and your team going out, looting the chest, and then discussing on who's going to get what. You now have to kind of trade and divvy it out so that your whole party has the right amount of supplies. You know what I mean? It's more strategy.
Yep.
You know, I got some mushroom potatoes, but this guy got a ton of Sarah brews. But maybe I should trade him my mushroom potatoes and take the brews.
This guy has 4 fucking stam potions for some reason.
Yeah.
But hey, this guy needs it. Like, it was nice when you watch like the streamers. Keep in mind, we're not like intense Theater of Blood raiders, but when you watch the streamers and they're like, okay, I have a 1 dose of restore, or a 1 dose of restore. Can anyone decant this? And we'll try and make up more space so I can pull out these and give it to this guy and blah, 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 blah. And they can like strategize. I think the shop point 1, I don't want to see a point system because it's too much like Xerix. They said they want to separate them.
Yeah.
And I find adding points is kind of weird. And it's also weird that like in a theater, there's like a shop. I guess like, you know, movie theaters is a shop, but
Yeah, but it's at the you have to leave the actual theater and go to the entrance.
Yeah, and you're gonna spend $7 on a goddamn tub of popcorn. Unrelated, Uber Eats in my area, you can buy a tub of popcorn for like $8. Uber Eats, it's so stupid. Anyways,
Where they go to the theater or something to pick
Yeah,
it up?
they actually go to the movie theaters. It's fucking dumb. Don't worry, I haven't done that. But anyways, so I'm not that stupid. So
Shopping for popcorn.
yeah, so I think it's kind of weird. I don't like how it's super RNG based. I was either thinking it would be kind of neat if there was like a net, like a set amount where, like, let's just say there's like 8 restores, 8 brews, 20 potatoes, and like 2 staminas. Random numbers. And then you can withdraw X amount during each intermission. But then I'm thinking, well, then there's a meta of like, you're just gonna ignore these and grab these. Like, it's really hard to figure it out. I think RNG, if they just made it better, if you hit certain thresholds, then you aren't eligible for, like, let's just say because there is a hidden point system, obviously. You just can't see it. That's how you get these items. So let's just say once you hit this amount of points, you can all the prayer potions now get turned into restores once you get to the chest. Like, you hit certain thresholds and items, you kind of know what you get. Just, like, through experience, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Where it's like, if Wooks is carrying super hard, he's doing 30% of the damage while he's not dying and he's taking a good amount. He's not going to get potatoes, he's going to get brews, and he's going to get restores and a stamina. But, like, Jimmy John, who's with him, who died at the start of everything, is going to get, like, a cabbage, or, like, an onion and a potato and, like, a prayer potion.
Yeah.
You know, like, shitty items. It's kind of hard, though, to know what the right answer is, because the only way we'd know is if they implement it for a week and then change it, if it doesn't work.
Yeah. They don't want to do a giant rework to the way the chess system works.
Yeah.
And then go back and do the original way. Because what they want to avoid is they don't want us as a party to go out there and then just get screwed over on the RNG rates and then get a bunch of shitty resources and being like, well, this raid is suddenly going to be a little bit harder because we didn't get enough brews that we got the last attempt we did.
It's super hard because they don't want people to leech. They don't want mules. They don't want, like, any of this weird stuff to happen in raids. Like, it's really hard to tell. Like, the point system and the shop system is really weird, and it'll come off a super private server-y. I already know that. Just the way they propose it, it's going to be like left click shop chest, and it's going to be like infinite stacks of everything.
NMZ shop, but this one's in the Theater of Blood.
And then last thing I'm going to mention, and we can move on, is if you're really good at Theater of Blood and you're maxed Iron Man, so like if you're one of 20 people, but keep in mind, there's still people that are doing this as we speak. There are Iron Men that run with other Iron Man for Theater of Blood. They do the first 2 rooms, get the resources, and then they restart. Because if you're good enough at the raids and you have the good enough gear, you can literally do the first 2 rooms with 0 supplies, and you're able to bank the supplies you get within the chest. If you can't withdraw everything, you can just bank it. There's a button that sends like that rewards, intermission rewards chest to the bank.
Yeah.
And so there is a meta with like a small number of Iron Men that if you want brews and shit, you can run Theater of Blood, don't use any supplies, and just bank everything you get and just redo the first 2 rooms. People have been doing that. I've even heard them talk about that. So if there's a point system and a shop system, then there can't be any banking within the Theater of Blood, which means that they're going to have to like remove some more things they've implemented with the chest. Just to prevent like you going in and buying 15 restores and then banking them and leaving.
Yeah, I like the original way. As we already talked about, I like the strategy that comes with it. I got a Sarah Brew for each person if you need it, but does anyone have super restores? Because I'm kind of low on those.
Maybe they want to take out the need for voice over IP, like Discord and Skype, because I feel like that is pretty important if you're running Theater of Blood, but also
as it should be.
Yeah, I think as it should be, but maybe they're going to stray away from that. But we'll talk about some more of the implements or changes they want to implement that they'd like to. They're not implementing yet, but they want to. So the next one is finding groups of. They say that finding groups of 5 is kind of a pain in the ass, and if you're not in a clan, it's pretty much impossible. So they want to add the ability to have a clan chat and you can find other members. That is a good idea, but also it's going to create gatekeeping for people. Like, it's a good idea. I mean, I'm not saying they should have this. It's weird that they don't, but there will be, you need 5 kill count to join any group pretty much, because like we said, one person can literally waste 40 minutes of your group's time. You can go to Lady Verzik, some guy can run out, not spec, and just drop the staff, and like one guy can easily do a little mistake, and now you have to redo the whole raid.
Yeah.
But I do think you should add that. I think that would be really cool. We have one for Shield of Arav. Why don't we have one for raids?
Yeah, that's true.
So in addition for aiding you in finding groups for theater, they initially intended the theater to be aimed for groups of 3 to 5, where 5 players, it would be optimal, but 3 very good players could at least complete it. And they realized they kind of fucked up super hard because you need 5. Like, it's so hard without 5. In fact, I don't even know how you would kill Lady Verzik with only 3 people, because the specs, right? The specs you need, I'm pretty sure you need 5 people to drop 3 specs each, because you have to cycle the staffs. Doesn't matter, but...
Well, I think the way that it's intended to work, I have yet to see a 3-man group actually get there. Then again, I'm not following the streams super close, but they said the mechanics will scale down a little bit. As in, when she shoots out those yellow pools you got to stand on to avoid damage, there's going to be 3 of them instead of 5.
Yeah.
I assume her shield would either take more damage with each spec, or it would just be lower in general.
Okay. Yeah, I hope that's the case. I know they do have the mechanics that scale down and like as an ads that spawn, but whatever. So they realized that they were kind of wrong, so that they want to scale the health of the creatures inside dependent on the team. So they want to propose a reduction to 75% of the boss's health for 3 players, and their damage and mechanics would be the same, but obviously the ads would be less and whatnot. They just want to scale the health pools. I've tried soloing the first 2 rooms. I've killed the first boss once in a solo, but that's getting really lucky with Ruby E-Bolt specs.
Yeah.
Where I'm dropping like a lot of 100s and shit, and I'm like, man, this is good. I'm maxing a lot of hits. I'm getting a lot of really good specs. Keep in mind, I've done like 8 attempts, and I've only had like 1 successful one. And that's all RNG based, because the issue is that I can do the boss fight, it's just the health. There's way too much health. But I'm also doing it in solo, expected to not really be able to solo a 5-man boss. But I think people in groups of 3 were having the same issue, so...
What are your thoughts on them nerfing the health of the boss for lesser teams?
I'm really biased because I'm not in a clan. I've looked into other clans and I haven't found any clans I want to join, which means I'm probably never going to join a clan, which means I'm probably not going to be doing Theater of Blood for a long time, especially with all my friends quitting.
Yeah.
So I'm biased in saying that this is a good idea, but I also liked the idea of like, okay, well, we got 3 people. We have to like look around and try and find 2 people that we enjoy doing content with, and they're good enough, and they have the gear, and now we can go do Theater of Blood. Like, I kind of want that. I want there to be a process of like finding a group of 5.
Yeah, or maybe you find a player that's like, maybe has the stats but doesn't have the gear, so then you're kind of pushing him along and helping him achieve that gear. You know what I mean? You basically make your 4th party member.
I just like the idea of like, maybe I've just played too much like traditional MMOs where you don't do 5-man dungeons or 9-man or 24-man raids. Like, you need the right amount of people. But RuneScape's really different because there are like a lot of assholes that play this game, a lot of scammers and shit. Like, would you grab a random person and just go do some Xerix with them? And then would you expect them to split like a T-Bow or Ancestral Top with you? No. Like, they're gonna scam, like I don't raid with random people because they're gonna scam me. I don't want to join a clan because sure, we're in the same clan, but they're probably gonna scam me. Just at what number, what point, what's the threshold that person, because everyone has that threshold, right?
Generally, you would assume so, right?
I think in the right circumstances, anybody would fuck over anyone. Given the right, even if it's like, well, this guy scammed me out of a T-Bow, but we're still playing it now. T-Bow drop, fuck it, I'm getting even with them. Even if it's like, that doesn't happen. But there is still a threshold, and that's the issue where like, in WoW, you don't mind grabbing a random person because, well, one, there's Master Looter, but Well, not anymore, but you know what I mean? Like, it's more of like, if a Tebow drops, it's not like anyone can just use it, and you know what I mean? Like in RuneScape, it's like, it's very, like if Tebow drops in this guy's name, he's not really obligated. It's kind of like it's a rule, but he could just go sell it, and now he's got a fucking huge bank.
Yeah, I agree. It's tricky, because last week when I mentioned doing the whole we do raids thing, and me being very skeptical that, like, in the same situation, a good drop happens, the person might not split. Although talking with different people within the We Do Raids group, they all said, I've been around for a beginner group and an ancestral dropped, and one of the beginners split it with everybody.
Yeah.
It does. Obviously, you'll have some scumbag that might take it.
I mean, it does happen a lot in We Do Raids, but
yeah, it will happen.
They get dealt with, obviously. I'm not saying We Do Raids is a perfect place to go if you want to learn. They even have like learner raids. Like, it's really good in the beginning. But I feel like you do that as a stepping stone to find like a core group that you guys just run like together quite a bit. That's, at least in my opinion, like maybe you really enjoy running with this one person and We Do Raids, you add them, talk on volume, like, man, this guy's kind of cool. You make a friend, right? Like, you kind of use that. It's not like a permanent thing. You have to like find the right people. But that being said, I know people who have straight up said to me, like, I would never do We Do Raids because I'd scam. Like, if like a drop happened in like a 3-man, I don't give a fuck. It's a Dragon Hunter crossbow. I'm just gonna keep it. I'll get banned. It's not a big deal. I've had people straight up say that to me. It's like, that's why I don't do it.
So the reason I'm asking on your thoughts on it being scaled down was because there's a few reasons. Again, like you, I've played a lot of the traditional MMOs as well. I thought it was kind of weird where people are complaining finding 2 extra people is hard. Where we're going to use the World of Warcraft example again. Multiple times you're having to group up with a 10-man for like a 10-man raid. They have 25-mans. They had 40-man raids at some point.
Yep.
And those didn't scale down. You know what I mean? They didn't scale down if you had 38 people.
Yep.
I know they're different games, but it was just surprising to me to see that people were, I don't know, they complained about having to find an extra 2 people, which I get it.
Yeah, I think
it's an annoyance. In most games, a 5-man group is just standard for running any group content. That's the lowest you'll find is a 5-man team for something.
Yep.
So I was surprised to see that. I also felt like it was a bit early to be talking about nerfing it already. They have the numbers, so they'll know better than I do. But for me, when I read this, I was thinking, it's only been out for less than a week. Is it really too early? Like, are we giving teams to figure out the meta on, oh, by the way, if you do it like this, a 3-man group will have, as long as you're good enough, you'll have no problem running it through it.
I mean, things have like recently been found out on how to actually do Lady Verzik properly. You were telling me about that today. Like, there's a lot of things people don't actually know how the raids work, and so like they're doing everything the hard way because no one's taken the time to try and learn the actual mechanics. And it's only been a week. I think they shouldn't even talk about it. Like, I don't like how they're like, well, we're kind of thinking that we should gear it down so groups of 3 can do it. Main reason why the whole We Do Raids thing got brought up is just because finding players to do shit with is that's the actual issue, and finding good enough players too. The main thing is they should do the CC. That should have been day 1. They should have had this clan chat day 1, and then they should wait like 2-3 months. There should be a fucking process, because yeah, do you remember people thinking you needed max gear for raids 1, but you need void? You can do raids 2 in Elite Void.
Yeah, that's right.
You gotta just let the content sit for a bit, let people pick it apart, and then you kind of know exactly what's up. And regardless, like, what if like a 3-man group is optimal? Then that's so fucked. That's so bad.
That's my worries. And you talking about how you're worried about somebody scamming, which will definitely happen. You know, I hate to say it, but when I played World of Warcraft, I was that guy that took something. That game's a bit differently because most gear is meant for a certain class. There's 6 classes. Let's say I was a rogue. You get a gear and it's meant for the mage. You're not going to keep it. It is useless to you. There's no reason you're going to scam that. But the way that game used to work is the party leader is the one who would be in charge of all of the loot, he would just ask, hey, I got this magic staff, everyone roll for it. They would type /roll, and then he would trade it or give it to the person who won that roll. Eventually, they changed things so that there was an actual button you'd click and it would automatically roll and divvy it out for you. But a while back, one person had that task of giving it out. I remember I did this one boss, I think it was Onyxia, and it was with a pug group, so random 10 people. I grabbed them all, we killed Onyxia, and she had a chance of dropping a bag, which was, it was for your inventory, but this bag was the biggest inventory bag you could have. And it was super hard to get. And since I was the party leader, my job would be to say, everybody roll for it, give it to whoever rolled it. But I was that scumbag that just snagged. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this to myself. I grabbed it, put it in my inventory, and then logged out. I was like, I'm snagging this thing. I believe it was called ninja looting back in the day.
Yep.
Because what they would do is they would take it and then log out because you didn't want to have to deal with it.
I still remember being a little noob back in the day on WoW, and my real life friend fucking ninja looted a bunch of shit out of a dungeon that I needed, and he did it just to be a dick. He was a hunter, and he was like, fuck, it was funny, wasn't it? Deegan, aren't you laughing? He's like, no! That's like so good!
Haha, joke's on me.
I don't know, anyways though, like the whole 3-man thing, they should wait.
Well, the only reason I wanted to bring up that thing with WoW was that the Fallout afterwards, it was a good item, but it wasn't that good, where I got kicked from my guild. It was so hard for me to find groups afterwards. Like, I had to change servers eventually because my name was basically blacklisted. People just knew my name as, this guy's a scum piece of shit who's gonna steal stuff. I was a lot younger. I was like, I can't even remember how old, but I was immature and shit like that. Like, I probably would not be doing the same thing now, but I learned that I'm like, that was not really worth it. I was in a guild with some people who I was friends with, but I ended up getting kicked from it because word just got around somehow.
Yeah, it's the way she goes.
So anyways, I just wanted to, that was my little anecdotal story of, I guess, scamming in a different game. And it was a terrible idea. So I feel like similar stuff does happen in this game. If somebody does steal something, that person, it might be not as hard for them to find a group, but
I mean, there is RS justice, but evidently it's not too successful.
But word does get around.
Yeah, hey, this guy scammed me. Well, did you screenshot it? No. Well, if you're lending someone, like, a bunch of shit, screenshot it, so if they scam you, you can put on RS justice, and maybe, like, another group will look them up before they go do content with them. Like, whenever I'm doing raids with people I don't know, I look them up on RS justice. Some people say that, like, it's not, some people say that RS justice is shitty, but I swear to you, there's been times where, like, we do raids, some guy puts his name in, I type in his name, and he scammed an item, like, a month ago from, like, 2 people in his old clan, and you're like, and I would, like, say in clan chat or in the Discord, dude, you're on RS Justice. And then they'd be like, no, I'm not. You're a fucking idiot. And then next thing you know, like, a mod from We Do Raids is messaging me, and I'd, like, send them that shit, and they go deal with it.
So generally speaking, it will happen because, you know what I mean? I've been on that end on another game.
Yeah, if you're careful about it. My solution.
There's usually repercussions.
My solution is just, I'll just skill until my friends come back.
But wrapping this back around to the whole raid content. So on the subreddit, some guy made a post saying basically just the people crying about the teams needing 5 people. Why don't they all just group up together? Like the people who are bitching about it.
Exactly.
There's your 5-man group right there.
Yeah.
I made a comment saying how I was disappointed that it was getting nerfed so soon after release. And then I relate it to how most other MMO games, 5-man teams are standards. Why in old school RuneScape is it too hard to find a team of 5 people? I actually got a response from Mod Ayiza, kind of giving their point of view a little bit.
Yeah.
So he said, reducing the HP for 3-man teams isn't a nerf, so to speak, even though it 100% is a nerf, but anyways.
Yeah, it is.
3-man teams will still be dealt the same damage and having to deal with the same mechanics. You're losing out on 2 players doing DPS for 25% reduction in HP. So the numbers, percentage-wise, it should be harder for a 3-man team. Anyways, the reason for the change isn't to accommodate people wanting the content to be easier. It's because we said it would have been balanced around 3 to 5 players, and currently it is not really possible at all for 3 players. 3 players will have a harder time than 5, and having 5 players will still be the most effective way to clear. I responded, My main issue is that a 3-man team, damage and health-wise, you'll have a tougher time. But when it comes to coordinating with 3 players, a lot easier to do than with 5 players. We saw it with the second boss where one player messes up and your whole team might possibly die. When suddenly so in a 5-man team, you have to account for 4 other players, whereas a 3-man team, you only have to account for 2.
Yep.
That was my worry. He responded, concerns are very valid. I don't think any of us on the team want it to be outright easier for a 3-man team, and we are keeping a close eye on things, and then we'll continue to keep a close eye once changes are made. It's a kind of a complicated situation. Again, with World of Warcraft, I hate having to compare it to World of Warcraft, but they've done these raids for a lot longer than Oldschool Runescape has, and you see a lot of scenarios that are kind of comparable between the two games. You know what I mean? So anyways, what I'm getting at is, in WoW, there's 40-man raids and a 10-man raid. You would think that a 40-man raid is harder to do than a 10-man raid, but the problem is, when one person dies in a 40-man raid, they lose, 2.5% of their DPS in that team as a whole when one person dies?
Yep.
Whereas as a 10-man team, one person dies, you lose 10%. So it's a lot more dramatic for one person to die. Like, your team will suffer a lot more.
Yep.
That being said, coordinating with 40 players, that's where the tricky part comes in.
Yep.
So that was just my worry, is that, sure, it's going to be harder to kill the boss, but coordinating around the mechanics as a 3-man team might be easier. And when you factor that in, people might start opting to do 3-man teams instead of looking for 2 other players, unless they're friends with 2 other players, then they know are good in the raid.
Yeah, they should just implement the CC first, give it a couple months, and then see how that works.
Yeah. Anyways, let's continue through this dev blog.
So they also want to, so right now, when you complete like rooms and stuff within the raid, it shows the actual time you spent completing each room. They want to provide an overall completion time so that players have an incentive to optimize their time spent between each room. Does that make sense? As of right now, you're only being timed for when the boss fight starts and it ends. They want to add like an overall point A to point B. How well can you guys communicate that you need to decant your potions, pretty much, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
So they're looking to add a notice board to sorts to the treasure room accessed after defeating Lady Verzik. It will display additional information about the raid, and they like to show the numbers of deaths for each player, time spent in each room, MVP for the entire raid, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool. They've seen some complaints about the multiple Sodasag's core prayer projectiles can hit a player simultaneously.
Okay.
You talked about the mechanics, but sometimes you can you can shoot 2 projectiles, and I think the way it works is that you pray just before it hits you, not as it comes out.
Right.
And you can manipulate when it hits you by moving further and closer away, but there's other mechanics that force you to move around. So just by default, you'll have to death dog, you'll have to stack on a teammate so he doesn't die, but that makes it so you get hit by both mage and range at the same time, and you take a lot of damage and you can't prevent that. They want to fix that.
Okay.
The same topic, Sodasag, he's like the Dark Beast guy, by the way. With the whole death thought thing, we gotta stack up. They call it his special sharing projectile. The big red ball that slowly goes towards someone. You have to stack up and spread the damage.
Mm-hmm.
They want to change the minimum time it takes before it damages you. So if you're too close to Sodasag, sometimes you're just boned. They want to just give it a lowest and highest. They want to make the speeds more consistent.
Okay, fair enough.
So there's a common complaint when you're going to the next room. Let's say you're at the intermission phase. People accidentally exit to the next room just because of the way the click boxes are. So they want to make it more difficult to do that by either changing the click boxes or, whatever. Doing what they do, fixing stuff up. They want to make it a little bit harder to accidentally go to the next room.
Okay.
They don't specify. That's why I'm being very general. They're just like, we want to change that. It's all right, cool, Jagex. Thanks, Tips.
Yeah.
Saying something's a little annoying. Thanks, Tips. I don't know. So some bosses inside the theater use game messages to help, signpost what the attacks are being used at given moments. These can be difficult to distinguish between other messages, and they like to highlight them in different colors to emphasize their importance. See here, I don't know if this is like a conduit plugin but that's how it is in Xeric. Like, when Olm shoots his, like, overhead, you look at chat and it tells you which color, whatever color the text is, that's what the overhead to protect in is.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised they don't really have that already, but they want to do that, so...
Good stuff.
They want to change the Grazi rapier animation.
Yeah.
It's too boring. So they want to make it a little bit cooler.
I agree. I don't know if you've seen... Shit. I don't know.
I've seen, like, some of the lunges that you could do. Some of the lunge animations, like, what their ideas they've implemented, or they would like to, like, see what people think. And it's kind of hard to think of a cool... What I think they should do is change how you walk with the rapier.
Yeah, okay. It kind of just sticks upwards.
Similar to the barrel chest or the dins or the elder, like the elder and the anchor. It kind of looks like you're taking a dump. You're leaned back. Like, it looks really, yeah. It would be kind of cool if, like, you could hold the sword in, like, in a rapier, like a dueling fashion, like, it's like your arms out in front of you, or, like, have it to your chest and, like, have your arm and your shield, your offhand behind your back. You know what I mean? Like, some cool, like, I'm gonna duel you, I bite my thumb at you type thing, and now you're dueling someone.
Yeah, I like that. I'm picturing exactly what you're talking about. That sounds like it would be perfect. Because when it comes to the actual attack animation, Mod Rye posted something on Twitter of what he's working on, and it looks better. It has a more unique thrust. So that's good. But I agree. The walk animation or like the idle animation should be different, since this is like the newest top tier weapon. You don't want it to look like you're holding a longsword.
Yeah. Just like, remember back in the day when they changed how you held a rune two-hander? I still remember when they put it on your shoulder.
Yeah, I used to hold it out just like a normal sword.
Yeah, one day they just we wanted to, and like, they didn't change the attacking animation. They just put it on your shoulder, and like, now you hold it to your shoulder, like over your shoulder. I'm saying that word a lot. They should just do something similar with the rapier. Like, just like, okay, maybe change the stabbing. I don't really care, but like, it would be, I don't know. I think it'd be cool to, like, when you're following some of the GE, showing off your wealth and asking them to trade your items, and they'll get lucky. You'll look a little bit cooler when you're walking around, but.
Because currently there is a rapier you can get in the game. And that one comes from,
I don't know what quest, but it comes from a quest.
Cabin Fever. Once you beat it, you can buy it for 25k. It's the same stats as a rune scimitar. Anyways, the two weapons look fairly similar, even though one's like useless and the other one's the best weapon in the game.
Yeah.
It'd be nice that if they're not going to change the appearance of the rapier and just make it look like a standard rapier, which is kind of, it's nothing flashy. It just looks, as I just said, your standard rapier.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to differentiate the two rapiers, at least have one make it look more badass when you're walking around with it.
Or like, have some sort of effect when you're attacking. Like some sort of like red, like translucent, transparent line, like something to like show that it's different and cool and it's worth, a couple $100 million, but
yeah,
whatever. So the second boss, Bloat, he's got this one mechanic where like body parts, like hands and stuff, fall from the sky, and they want to make the shadows, which show you where they're going to hit, appear a cycle earlier. So you actually have time, like, before, like, when we were doing it, you would walk around and be like, and I'm stunned. And I'm stunned again. This is horrible luck. Like, it was all, like, RNG based. Unless you were, like, walking and you saw that your character's gonna walk into it, that's the only time you could really, and you have to be quick. You gotta be quick, but I don't know.
Yep.
They, want to fix that. So, nice, Jagex.
Cool.
Now we go into the actual updates. So it's about time, but after a couple months, they want to do some of these quality of life implementations.
Right, back in February, was it?
Maybe some of them I feel like earlier. I feel like some of these we talked about a lot earlier, but maybe time just moves differently or feels different for me. The first thing you guys probably notice is they changed the teleport options on the POH portals and whatnot. So when you, like, let's say you're going to Varrock, Camelot, or like the Anil, and you have options. So if you haven't done the diaries for like Varrock, you can unlock the option to teleport to the Grand Exchange. And before this implementation, it was you had to like go to a toggle interface and say, yes, I want to go there. And then if you want to go to Varrock, like to the square, you have to like manually change it within the POH. You can right click your spells and do it like that. But yeah, anyways, so now when you go to your POH, you can right click and go Varrock or GE. And like the toggle is just changes whatever the left click is, which is super fucking nice. I've actually started doing my battle staves. Believe it or not, a right click yes option was stopping me from buying my daily staffs.
It makes it a little bit more tedious than it needs to be.
Yeah, it's nice. Good implementation. It is the same thing with Camelot and the Yanil and all that good stuff.
Yeah, perfect.
Pretty nice quality of life. They fixed up the Zarpus arena in Theater of Blood. So like sometimes you would click on like a certain tile at the edge of the arena, but it would navigate you in an unexpected manner. You'd kind of go in the wrong place. Now they fixed that up.
Good stuff.
The vampire snarky messages are no longer placed in the gravestone upon being wiped in Theater of Blood.
Okay.
Too many kids get mad.
Sure.
So this is a little controversial for some hardcore Iron Men and whatnot. So the Western Province Elite Diary would give you a free life at the Zulrah Shrine.
Yep.
And beforehand, you would die and then you'd get revived, but your prayers are dropped, all that stuff. And you could easily, like if you're too slow or like if you disconnect, it doesn't do anything because you just die twice in a row. So they've changed it. So when you res at the shrine, you just stop taking damage. You'll res, your guy is just standing still. The snakelings don't attack you. The toxic clouds go away. Zulrah stops attacking you. And so if you actually disconnect in Zulrah, you're safe. You won't die. The reason why I say it's controversial is now Zulrah, if you have the elites done, which like if you're a high level hardcore Iron Man, you probably have them done. But it makes Zulrah a really safe fight once you get the elites done.
Yeah, that's true. Because I believe their intention was to prevent people from disconnecting. Anyone who plays a hardcore Iron Man, or if you're following a streamer or a YouTuber who plays in hardcore Iron Man, the worst thing is when they disconnect and that causes them to die. That's just like the shittiest way to lose your hardcore Iron Man status.
Yep.
So that's their intentions for this change was to prevent someone from DCing in the Zulrah fight and then causing them to lose their status.
Yeah.
That being said, now if you run out of supplies, you can just one-click teleport out because everything pauses until you do another action.
Yeah, so you can just tele out, you're safe, boom. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess it just shows that this diary perk was just for people disconnecting. But whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe I'm making too much of a deal about it, but it is kind of weird. Yeah, I guess, losing your hardcore Iron Man to a DC sucks.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Moving on though, all spirit shields have been updated to be cleaner in game. They look nicer, they look better, more crisp, more clean. Female characters now have their own unique model, reducing the distance between the shields and their body.
Oh, nice. I guess it used to float before.
The route finding towards seaweed patches have been improved, and overhitting a player's remaining health in PvP will no longer interfere with the correct player receiving loot. See, here's the thing. We talked about this before, where they've done something like this similar, and I thought this meant that they were changing you not getting the right loot in PvP. Sometimes someone else would get the loot, sometimes they'd get a PVM death.
Yeah.
They haven't fixed it forever, and I don't know if this is the actual fix now, because like this is the second or third time we've seen something similar to this, where they change how receiving or dealing damage would fuck with the loot, which is kind of weird. I don't know. Hopefully this fixes you not getting loot when you actually earned it, but let's be real, it probably still doesn't really do much.
That's the problem. It's vague when they say will no longer interfere with the correct player receiving the loot. It's like, who's the correct player? The one who actually killed them, or the person who ended up dealing the most damage?
Maybe it's just going to break the system even more. Who knows? So messages detailing what is required to enter the volcanic mine have been updated to include the information that a player must claim the reward for building the camp.
Okay. Cool.
Theater of Blood items have been added to the expert price lists at the Grand Exchange.
Right on. Okay.
There were some typos in the Stranger's dialogue outside of Theater of Blood. That's been fixed. Port Gazard Anvil building's door is now wedged open to avoid disruptive training. Those door spammers, dude. Door jamming.
Those bastards. They're at it again.
The spelling of the Avernick hilt, or Defender hilt description has been corrected. Nice, Jagex.
Classic.
Items found in the supply chest within the Theater of Blood will now appear to other players if instantly dropped to assist parties in distributing items. Iron Man restrictions still apply, though.
Nice.
And DeadMan Summer Finals, the permadeath playthrough. So the 21st of June, starting at 2 p.m. BST, they're going to have a little beta. And they say just fucking try and find bugs. Don't try and practice and hone your game plan. But let's be real. No one's really... If there's a bug that lets you get an advantage... And let's hope it gets reported, but who knows?
Don't hoard that information for yourself to be like, all right, I'm going to be number one.
Yeah, let me unnote food at files.
Yeah, they accidentally put files in the DeadMan Mode arena.
Hey, look, I can ice barrage my buddy in the next room.
Yeah.
I can just put that away in the memory bank. Yeah, so 9 a.m. EST on Thursday. So this beta is pretty much for people in the UK.
9 a.m. BST?
EST,
9 a.m.
2 p.m. BST.
Yeah.
Like you.
Oh, on a Thursday too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Work and school.
World 400 will be the world, and you have 15 minutes to log in and prepare.
Okay.
About 90 minutes, you know. They give you set gear setups. All that good stuff. PvP rotation changes. No one cares about that anymore.
Yeah, they've changed. Just check it out. You already know if you're someone who's PvPing enough.
Yeah. And some Theater of Blood memes that they released on their YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, that's right. They've started doing this weekly updates. They started doing like highlights on their YouTube channel. So you can go ahead and check it out.
Yep.
It's usually just stuff on the QA and what they've released. Imagine what we do here, but condensed down to 10 minutes?
5 or 6, yeah. So I guess this means our last episode. We've been pushed out. Nah.
We've been overtaken.
Yeah. They also had a super secret stream on Saturday the 16th.
Yeah, okay, this is a perfect time to talk about it. So this had already passed. I made a post in the Discord when it first started happening, probably 30 minutes in because I was out and about and wasn't able to actually watch it live. But I went back afterwards and watched the video on Twitch and watched the whole thing through, 2.5 hours long. Turned out to be a bot-busting stream. If you are unfamiliar with what a bot-busting stream is, they've done a couple of them in the past. But basically, a couple J-mods will have a list of bots, and they will kill them and show you the inventory that they had to kind of give you an idea of what is going out of the game when they get rid of these bots. It's kind of fun to watch. You get to see some big amounts of money getting taken out from the game. It's also interesting to see what some bots can get away with, and you can kind of see what people are are botting, because sometimes you'll find a player who's in the high 100s, 121, near maxed, and it's just surprising to see that he was botting.
Oh yeah.
So they did that on Saturday. Gives you an insight of how they actually have to ban bots. Funny story, it turns out they need to actually walk around Oldschool RuneScape and manually ban them.
No, they don't actually do that.
Yeah, it was a joke.
Okay. So some people were like, wow, Deegan, don't you think that's an inefficient way to have a anti-bot watch? That it's all for show. They have an automated system. They don't run around with carrots killing. Oh, should I actually ban a real person? Oh no, you know what I mean?
Fuck,
Let's
okay.
Just push this one underneath the rug.
Oh my god, he's got a front page on Reddit. Oh shit.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
But it was kind of fun.
Yeah. Little special world just for all the bots that were flagged, and they just ran around and killed them. They dressed up as bots. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was Mod Ayiza and Mod Sween. They wore the classic green t-shirt and green cargo pants with a bald cap and a little goatee. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, interesting. Really enjoyed watching that while I runecrafted and stuff. It was a fun little stream.
It was cool. And then Mod Weath or Mod Wealth. Anyways, He's one of the ones that kind of got the master list of what bots are going to be used as targets for this event. And then, brought them into this random world. It was a JMod world, and they were able to go around and use a carrot on them to kill them. They'd go to different spots to see where they would all get stuck at, because this was a world that only free-to-play was available. So some botting scripts just got them stuck somewhere. An example of this is the Taverley Gates. There'd be a shit ton that got stuck there, and when they started banning them and seeing what loot they had, turned out to be lots of ore and lots of money because they were off to do blast smithing.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that, though. Did you see any runecrafting bots? I saw very little runecrafting bots.
Yeah.
You
saw the odd ones that had a shit ton of runes, but
yeah,
it didn't look specifically from runecrafting.
I saw very little blast mining bots.
Yeah.
There were a lot of flax bots, a couple Zalra bots, a couple staking bots.
Oh, the staking bots were the big ones.
Yeah,
they
like 2
ended
bill on
up
them
banning one. Yeah, they banned one that had 2 bill in cash on them.
Oh yeah, it's nuts.
Unreal.
But super fucking weird. Like, I noticed pretty early on that it's like certain bots were getting banned. But also I was like looking around the subreddit and I was like talking with people, and like some people were saying that runecrafting bots aren't actually bots or Venezuelans account sharing. Same thing with Blastmine. So maybe all those people I'm killing at Blastmine are bots. They're Venezuelans being like, why am I taking damage?
Oh no, the kids aren't going to eat this week.
No, but I'd kill them. They just wouldn't show up again. They're gone. There's like a lot of, very specific, I don't want to call them archetypes, but types of bots, you know?
Lots of woodcutting bots.
Oak bots, those jug bots that just fill up jugs with water.
Yeah. They would go to, again, specific areas. You'd find certain types of bots. When you went to Varrock East Bank, I think it was.
Yeah.
A lot of them just had a shit ton of jugs filled with water.
Yeah. Which is really bad, but if you can make a bot script with like 800 bots, you know, it's a numbers game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun stream. I liked it. I think it was their first one in like 2 years. It took them a long ass time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I can kind of see why they don't do it a lot, though. One, it's a lot of time and effort. Two, a lot of things went wrong during the stream.
Yeah, like what?
So they would kill the bots, but they wouldn't actually get banned.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And people were like, fuck, I'm in this botting world. They go around and kind of troll the JMods for a bit, and they had to manually ban one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't log out, but how funny would it be if like, okay, let's go. Oh, he's running away from us, and he logged out. Fuck, he logged out. Shit, we can't ban him. He double name changed. No.
That son of a bitch. Luckily, at the end of it, any single bot that was on there all got banned.
Yeah, they did.
But what they wanted to do was, once they killed them, they were hoping that they would just get kicked off the server so that they wouldn't keep killing bots with no inventory since they've already killed them. Which is something you saw at the beginning. They'd go to Lumbridge, start taking out bots, and then the second round they would do it again, and the bots would have no items. And they're just like, oh, we've probably already killed these guys.
Yeah. It was kind of cool. They had the heat map stuff, like in DeadMan Mode.
Yeah.
Really, really fun stuff. But yeah, it was really enjoying to watch go down.
Yeah, it's cool. And I guess we don't say it enough, but Jagex as a company, or the Oldschool RuneScape team, they're a pretty good and dedicated team to the game. You know what I mean? They really care about the game. I assume they all get paid salary there.
Yeah, I think you have to.
So them spending their Saturday, they're taking at least 3 hours to do this little event. They're doing it out of their own time. They're literally doing it for fun. I feel like you just don't see that enough with some games, like where the devs actually really care about the game. Most of them play the game on their off time, which is kind of mind-boggling to me.
One of them's maxed.
Yeah. He doesn't use any third-party clients.
Yeah.
So he did it all the hard way. Sometimes we rag on them a little bit, but it's because they have this like indie game attitude to this game, so there's some problems that come with it. But the good thing is that indie developers, generally speaking, they usually care a lot. Like most games, you can't make a post on the subreddit and get a response from the JMod. Like, when I got that response from Mod Ayiza this week, it wasn't because it was on the front page and he saw it and decided, okay, I gotta shut this guy up. He was literally refreshing on the subreddit under the new category and just seeing the new posts that are coming up and responding to some of them. Because when I replied to that, I was doing it on the new because I was bored at work and didn't feel like playing actual RuneScape. So it's nice to see that they're taking their time to they talk to the community. A lot of the times, if you message one on Twitter, there's a good chance you'll get a response back, depending on who it is.
Yeah, Mod Jet doesn't tweet me back anymore.
He used to. You guys used to be tight.
I don't think he likes me too much.
But, you know, it's nice to see. I played Destiny for a long time, and they would have one community manager. I don't know what do you want to call it? Community rep. Basically, it was one guy's job to go on the subreddit and comment every now and then. He was just kind of saying what he had to say, saying the things he was told to say. When a problem happened in the game, he would make a post, but it'd be very vague. It's very lawyer speak.
A lot of corporate jargon.
Yeah. He said a lot without saying anything.
Yeah.
Just to be like, hey, subreddit, don't worry. Look, I care. I'm responding. We're paying attention.
Hello, fellow gamers and gamettes. How you liking the game? Not that much? Oh, you'll like it next week, I swear.
The newest expansion is going to be great, but this is what we're complaining about. Yeah, but the newest expansion is totally going to be worth the $40. The last 3 weren't. This one, make sure you pre-order it so you can get your extra loot boxes, and you're going to love it.
Yeah.
But with Jagex, you see them a lot responding to things that they don't even need to respond for. You know what I mean? They could have easily... Most companies might not even say anything. They're just like, listen, we're shutting down these third-party clients. We don't need to explain ourselves. But they take their time out to explain it. They have a weekly Q&A where they will come out and talk about it straight up. You know what I mean? They might not say everything, but they're putting themselves very vulnerable by actually saying these things to us.
Yeah.
It's nice. I appreciate the devs that we have for this game. It's cool to see them do these super secret streams and dressing up as bots and having fun with it when they could easily be sitting at home, sleeping in, and, you know, doing whatever, not coming into work on a Saturday for free.
That being said, do you want to talk about what they'll be doing for the next couple months?
Yeah, we could. It's saying a lot without saying much. I went through and read it.
Yeah, they just said that they're going to work on the backlog of updates that they've promised and that we've asked for. A lot of quality of life, probably go back and that good stuff. Maybe the odd quest here and there to keep everyone satisfied with new content.
Yeah, they have a couple things they mentioned last RuneFest and even the RuneFest before that they do plan on bringing, that they're going to be working on. Whether or not we'll see it, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But there's not going to be really any big unexpected announcements until the next RuneFest.
Yeah.
That being said, last RuneFest, they did mention about a farming guild where you're going to be able to have actual animals to take care of. They talked about a bounty hunter slayer task sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the RuneFest before that, they mentioned how they want to introduce another big troll quest. So that's going back 2 years, so...
Yeah, so hopefully they work on the backlog before they make any more promises. Beta, or the mobile coming out of beta and stuff like that, no actual date.
No.
Not yet.
They're getting a lot of very useful information that they can't disclose with us.
Yeah.
The current focus is Android because I guess it's just easier. iOS, there's more loops to go through, and I'm sure eventually they'll be doing an always-on beta for iOS devices, but stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the updates, though.
So a couple things that I had seen. One, apparently there's going to be a new JMod joining the team. They made a tweet saying that the skill of actually playing RuneScape is about to increase. Some people made jokes that Wooks would be joining the JMod team. Highly unlikely. Another thing I wanted to mention was we didn't cover it last week because the whole Theater of Blood took up a lot of time. And here's a little podcast trivia. Last week, I accidentally unplugged my microphone 1 hour in, and then I plugged it back in. We kept recording, and for an hour, I wasn't recording anything. So I royally fucked that one up. But you probably won't be able to tell. But a little podcast trivia for you, a little fun fact.
That'll get you.
Yeah, that was bad.
The old mic plug-in, you know?
I didn't think the recording would stop, so then an hour after that happened, I looked and I'm like, wait a minute, it's not recording. Anyways, something that I had left out because, maybe not because of that, but because of Theater of Blood as well, and the podcast ran a little bit longer than usual, that last week was the anniversary of the Falador Massacre, a very iconic event in RuneScape in general. Most people know what the Falador Massacre was. If you don't, we'll do a quick summary of it. A long time ago, back in 2006, the construction skill had come out, and when the first person got 99, he held a giant party, and I can't remember the details exactly, so Deegan, correct me where I'm wrong, if you know them, but there's a combat ring and stuff like that within the player-owned house where you can PvP, but you won't actually die. Anyways, I don't know if they figured out this bug or if it just kind of happened, but it turned out that you were able to kick people, and I think it was during one of these mini games within the player-owned house. You could kick them, and they would leave the house, but they would still have the option to attack players in the safe zones. So what happened was there was a handful of players, and the most famous one is Duriel321. A video is out on YouTube that you can see where it's of him going around Falador and just killing players. And you had a bunch of mods kind of spamming bank your items, get the fuck out of Falador, don't die. And a lot of players were getting killed from Duriel321. There were other players, but the reason he's so iconic is because only one video really surfaced from that event, and it came from a Pure's perspective. And the only person you could see doing this Falador Massacre was this Duriel person. So it was a big event. Since then, it's just been iconic for RuneScape. And in general, look up the Nightwish Planet Hell song and go check the comments. Every comment's probably going to be about the Falador Massacre, because that was the song that played over that video. So everyone kind of puts the two together. Yeah, a little bit of interesting RuneScape history, I guess. Last year, they did an event for it, and I think RuneScape 3 did as well. But in old school RuneScape, you could go to a tournament world, and in that world, you could take out whatever gear you want. They do it every now and then when they're introducing new items, or just for whatever reason, you'll be able to go and test out the best gear, and you can fight people at Clan Wars. But for this specific event last year, you were able to go to Falador, and they would have Duriel, just an NPC walking around, ice barraging and whipping people, and he had like max health, like 2.4 billion health or something. So in that area, everyone was just trying to kill him, and whoever killed him got the green party hat. So unfortunately, they did nothing this year for it, which was probably due to Theater of Blood being released, which was kind of a shame. I mean, I'm sure not many people would have been doing it as last year because of the new raid that came out, but the year before, I don't know if you were able to do it, but I had a great time doing it when I was doing it.
No, I don't think I participated.
It was a lot of fun, though. Anyways, enough of that, though. If you're unfamiliar, go check out the video because it is a classic. And I guess two more things to mention. This one might be useful for you. There is a person who made a post on the subreddit named TeakLog. He has since quit the game for a while. He was a very skilled player when it came to the fire caves, or the fight caves, where you get the fire cape. And he released some information that he had figured out, which was, the way he says it is, most people are familiar that when you enter the fight caves, wherever the level 45 spawns on wave 3 will be the same spot the orange 360 spawns at the second last wave, which also means that's where Jad will spawn. So a lot of people use that information to know where to get set up for when that Jad fight happens, because you don't want to be on the other side of the arena, because he can attack you off screen.
Yeah, when I was trying to figure out like where Jad would spawn, depending like, if I'm trying to get a fire keep on my Pure or something, I would wait till wave 3, see where the 45 spawned, and then that's like, okay, it's where Jad will spawn. And if it's where I wanted to, I would just reload, like log in and out, or not log, but leave and come back.
And that's what a lot of people do, because they want to get them in the optimal position.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people didn't know is that there was roughly 15 different rotations of where every monster will spawn in that cave. So, Deegan, you were doing the fire cape on your pure that had, was it 43 prayer and 1 defense?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a pretty low level. And the information of knowing that there is 15 different phases is very useful once you know all the phases, because then you can know, okay, this is where the ranger will spawn. This is where the level 180 melee priest guy will spawn. This is where, the 360 will spawn for this wave and this wave. So it gives people once you know that information, it makes it easier for you to position yourself to face the next waves instead of tanking a handful of damage before being able to hide and then peeking out to attack them, right? We'll post that in the Discord. It's kind of interesting. It might not be useful to most people. Like for me, I would never need to know these. But if you ever want to do it on your pure, it might be good to know. And the last thing I want to mention, and we should have mentioned this when we were talking about Theater of Blood. So this was posted by Jana Mechanics on the subreddit, and it's this new strategy that they had figured out for Lady Verzik in her third phase. So right now when you're watching any streamer do it, you're seeing them kind of go between T-bows and whipping them and kind of just DPS as much as you can until hopefully she dies before she kills you. This new strategy, though, it has to do with the Din's Bulwark, which is a 2-handed shield, and it can reduce the damage you take without you dealing actual damage. So what this requires you to do is, in the third phase, she will randomly select somebody to target, and she'll kind of chase them down to do damage. As soon as the third phase starts, everyone equips their Din's Bulwark until she targets one of the people on your team, and whoever she's targeting keeps the Bulwark equipped, whereas everyone else switches to their DPS item, Whip or D-Claws or Dragon Halberd, whatever it is, and they kind of go through the fight normally and attack them. And then when she switches targets, that other person will put their Bulwark on and they tank it, and then the other people DPS them down. This allows the team to use less resources than normally just straight DPSing them, since she'll target different people and they can reduce the damage taken. Anyways, the main reason I wanted to bring this up was it's cool to see them having more of a tank meta for this one. They've mentioned it, how they wanted to have an actual tank for some of the fights, but it also shows that new strategies are still coming out for the fights. Nobody knows the best way to do them yet. And I'm sure we'll see different changes in the strategies as time goes on. But yeah, that's for the most part all I had this week to talk about in the community. A lot of complaining about Theater of Blood, let's just say.
A lot of complaints.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of standard.
Yeah, now that people know how to actually do Lady Verzik, just one more thing to make it a little bit easier.
We'll see in the near future, I guess, if more strategies come out. Could turn out there's a better way of doing it. Anyways, let's move her on to the lore. Last episode, we talked about the Kingdom of Varlamore. This week, we wrap up the history of the Kingdom of Great Kourend. 20 years ago, in the 139th decade, the current king of Kourend, King Kurtz IV, dies after his rule over Kourend that lasted 4 decades. The king had no heirs that were fit to rule the throne. He had no sons. His wife died while giving birth to his only daughter, who was too young to sit on the throne. In place, the Kourend Council was formed and ordered to rule the kingdom until Rose came of age. However, the council then declared that Rose was unstable due to the death of her father and was considered unfit to rule. Eventually, she was accused of killing her father and was locked away. This allowed the council to be permanent for the kingdom, which then was branded as the Republic of Great Kourend. The council rules to this day, but is accused of corruption, with Rose revealing that she had never gone insane, that the 4 counselors who make up of the council have deep ties with the disciples of Yama, a cult who follows the demon known as Yama, and the fact that the same 4 counselors have won every quadrennial election since the council was formed. Each of the houses of Zaya still have their own lords which rule over their specific house, but the council are the ones that make up the laws of Great Kourend that must be enforced and obeyed. Next episode, the lore segment will be a brief one, as we talk about some of the events that have happened on Great Kourend. Alrighty, a few things to mention that are, I guess, non-old school RuneScape community related for the most part. Well, first things first, I've been trying to do some research to figure out how common armored skirts were back in any time before now. Having trouble finding things. Most information that I'm finding is that there was like a mini skirt sort of thing that would attach to your chest armor, and it would cover your midriff basically. So it like bridged between your pants and your chest.
Yeah, I think Jagex just really likes wearing skirts or something.
Well, there's got to be something. You know, the Scots, they wear kilts. So there's something going on there.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I'll tweet some of the few remaining J-mods that don't have me blocked. No, none of them's blocked me yet, but maybe I'll just tweet all of them and ask what up with that.
I've also thought about going on to the Ask Historians subreddit and seeing what information they have, but I need to know more because I can't just go and be like, hey guys, I play RuneScape and there's a lot of skirts. Where does this happen in history? Because I'm pretty sure I'll just get fucking banned from the subreddit. They're very anal on that subreddit. You need to, someone responding to a question about history on that one, they need to have actual sources in their comment.
Oh, yeah.
Which is nice, but at the same time, there's a lot of questions that just go unanswered because anyone who made a post gets deleted so fast because they're like, you didn't source it properly, or you didn't source enough information.
Well, like, better than, you know, someone asking a history question. I'm like, what kind of armor did they wear? Well, actually, there was only skirts back in the medieval ages. Source, oldschool.runescape.com. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess it makes it more legitimate.
Yeah, that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be more legitimate so that an average person can't comment on, you know, oh, I watched a documentary, so here's the information. Like, no, you need to actually have textbooks, and you basically had to have gone to college or university for that subject to be able to respond.
Yep.
So anyways, I'll get to the bottom of this one day. I'll figure it out. And I guess the last thing before we get out of here, we got a response on Twitter from the user Willard, at WillardWillWill. He says, interesting talk about merching on episode 87. I bought 120 mil worth of Zulrah scales and 50 mil worth of blood runes before raids 2, expecting both of them to increase. Hey, Deegan, can you guess what happened?
Oh, he lost money.
Yeah. Continuing what he says, they both dropped like a stone. I've lost 50 mil so far, and I have 250k bloods and 500k scales sitting in the bank.
Okay, fucking sit on them. Don't sell them. Like, okay. Pro tip, do you want to sell day of or the day before? There's like a bell curve, I guess, and you never want to. Let's say there's like a bell curve of like your merging shit. So like, let's say scales at one point were like 150, and then at the peak of the curve, they go to like 210, and then they go down to 150. Like, you never want to skirt at the lowest and highest points, because that's when you actually lose money. In terms of, or that's when you risk losing money. You know what I mean? If you're trying to buy shit for as cheap as possible and sell it for as high as possible, like, just play it safe and just take out the mid chunk and make money that way.
Yeah.
Like, you buy beforehand, you buy at some point during the rise, and then like the day before the update, you want to sell it or hold it for day of. Like, you don't want to keep until the update comes out, right? Because there's a lot of people that do price manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can talk about this. I don't mind. So here, let's open up. It's funny because I actually invested in some blood runes, so this is relevant. During Theater of Blood, I wanted to get blood runes to flip, but I'm like looking at the price, and the first thing I do is when I like look at an item, I look at the last 6 months and then try and remember what updates have come out. So like I just like right now pulled up here. If you want, I can send you a link right now if you want to like look along. I don't know if you care, but I'll send you one anyways. So like if I go to flip an item, and so I'm currently flipping blood runes right now, and I'm only mentioning this because I don't really care. I don't care if I lose money. I won't. It's okay. So I look at the 6 months, and then I like look at if you look at Blood Runes right now, it has like jumped up and down quite a bit, and like you can see it like in December 21st it was 200, and then January 3rd 217, and like its lowest point ever has been in the past 6 months like 197. Like I think that's the average. I'm pretty sure it can go down lower, but like at least the site shows the averages.
Mm-hmm.
It peaked at 250, and like between February 15th and today, it's gone up, and it like sat around 220 for like a couple months, and that's all because of Theater of Blood and price manipulating and all that stuff. There's a lot of factors of people assuming that you need a lot of blood runes for Theater of Blood for the items, but you're not taking into effect that who's actually going to be using these items, these runes. The Scythe uses a lot, and so does the Sanguinesti staff, but there's probably less than 100 total in the game.
Yeah, and how often are you going to be using them?
Yep. You also have to take in consideration how many people have the same idea as you, because that also will fuck with your margins. That's why people, like, when we talk about flips, it's like, find an item no one's flipping. It's because, like, it's more honest. A lot of these numbers are inflated. Like, you look from February 20th to March 10th, Blood Runes went up 50 GP, which means there's a lot of price manipulation, just in general. Like, a lot of clans are jumping like, into it. People,
as well as in the Q&A, they might have mentioned that we want to use Blood Runes as a charging source for these items. They might make an offhand comment.
Yeah, so the whole, like, if you're trying to, like, ride the wave, everyone's trying to ride the wave, so you kind of get burnt. Like, there's people that probably were like, oh my god, these have gone up so much, I'm gonna buy at 230, and they're gonna hit so much, and then they end up going straight down. So you kind of have to, like, if you look at the prices, like, items have a general area to sit, and for, like, Blood Runes, they sat, like, 200 GP seems to be, like, the lowest it sits. So I just put a buy-in for a bunch, and at worst, I'll lose, like, 3 mil. Or I'll make a bit more, right? I bought mine at, like, 200. Because I'm like, that's a safe number. It's crashed hard. Like, it went from the 7th till today, so 10 days, it dropped 30 GP. And that's because everyone realized, oh, shit, I have way too many of these. It's Theater of Blood. I'm going to get rid of them because, one, either they're crashing already, or two, they're going to crash. Zulrah scales. This is like another item that I actually flipped this. I flipped, 80k plus the ones I got from grinding Zulrah, so probably like over 100k. And I bought 80k at 155, I think. I can't look, I'm not going to open up my GE history, but I think either 150 to 160 in between there. And my reasoning is I look at the 6 month period. At one point it was at 120, but for a while it sat around 200 up until, Theater of Blood, but everything's also inflating and everyone's selling off their Zulrah stock. Like, all their items are getting rid of before raids.
Yep.
And I did the same thing with a bunch of Chamber of Xerix supplies. I looked at, like, where they normally sit at. Okay, everyone's gonna be panic selling these, so I'll put a low buy offer, and then people are gonna go, holy fuck, these are crashing, and people are gonna start buying them. So I did that, and I went from, like, 150 or 160, and I flipped a bunch at 180 the next day or that day. You're gonna have to, like, just know what people are kind of panicking about, what they're trying to buy and sell.
Yeah, some things are more predictable, like Zulrah scales being used for the Theater of Blood, but one that not a lot of people foresaw was Revenant Caves.
Yep.
I remember that a bunch of PKing items and stuff like that shot up in price because you knew PKers would be going there, but people might have not assumed that the blowpipe would be the best thing to bring there.
Yep.
Which turned out it was, for the most part.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, like, read the market and know that, like, I want to talk about the other items I'm flipping right now, but they might, like, it's really risky, and I might have to sit on them for a couple months.
So one day in the future, we'll have an episode about that.
Like, I'm looking at them now, and I'm like, I could easily take a 30 mil hit on these flips. Yeah. That's why I don't want to talk about them, because it might be really bad for me to mention it, and someone go, I'm going to join Deegan with this flip. And then me go, yeah, I lost 30 mil on this.
Yeah. Well, in the future, make a note from it. We'll talk about the aftermath of it.
Yeah. I can still like jump out now. I can still jump out while it's safe and lose 0 money. I don't know. So like, okay, I won't mention what it is, but because of all the raids and everything, some items have crashed and I've bought a bunch of shit. Well, like 65 mil worth of shit in preparation of it to slowly go back up over the next couple months. The way, like, if you look at like, I'm mentioning this because I'm not flipping these items, but if you look at like super restores, they're down quite a bit actually. I might buy some. But if you like look at them, they go up and they go down like between set values pretty consistently, and then during like PVM big updates and stuff, they skyrocket. There's general margins that you could safely put in buys and sells, and generally over the course of the year you'll be making money. Like between like April to like June 4th, they consistently dropped. They went from like 9K or 10. They went from like 10K to 10.5K over and over and over again for a couple months.
Yeah.
So if you recognize that with like certain items, you're like, okay, well, I have all this money that I'm not going to be spending. Let's say I have like 10 mil I'm not going to be spending. I'll just put 5 mil at like, don't do this because restores are really low right now and they could drop like even further. But oh, well, like I noticed it's been going up and down between these set values for the past 2-3 months. I'm going to put like 5 mil in at like 10K. It'll buy, and then over the like next 2 weeks, it'll go up to 10.5K, and then that's when I'll sell. And you can just sit there and float between those values. Mm-hmm. Typically, that's what people do when they're merching like high quantities of items, I guess.
Yep.
I think like my mahogany planks and stuff was also a good example. Was like looking at we open this bitch up 6 months. If you like look at the prices, it always sat between like around 2K, and then once I noticed it dip below 2K. And I think I bought a bunch for like $17.50. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm losing money. Like the lowest point ever was like as of recent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep in mind though that the Jagex website shows the averages. So they could like when something crashes really hard, typically it's crashed even harder than what it's showing.
Yeah. And that's why the OS Buddy Grand Exchange thing was a lot better, because it tracked what people were selling things at for their exact value using the client, though. And since a lot of people at one point were using OS Buddy the most, it had a very accurate Grand Exchange tracker. I don't know if it's the same anymore with so many people converting over to RuneLite, but that's why.
If you're going to like invest a lot of money into anything, you gotta like, worst case scenario, if you lose out, what are you learning from it? Like if I'm making a flip, like when I was doing like Chamber of Xeric item dumps, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy a bunch of these at like lower, as long as it's lower than their average price has been for the past 6 months, I shouldn't lose money. And then it's like, if I do lose money, why would I be losing money? Like what lesson can I take from this? And like these items that I've been, like the 60 mil I dumped in some random shit, I have a pretty good idea on why I'm losing money if I lose money out of it. Does that make sense?
I think so.
It's a 30 mil lesson that I'm kind of gambling for. Or like I'm learning, as long as I'm learning something out of merchanting and getting better at it.
Yeah, I guess so. Knowledge is power.
Yeah, depending on on what point of the Blood Runes thing you bought at. Like if you bought a bunch for 230, you might be boned. I hate to say it. I don't see them ever rising up that high. You can just sit on it and just wait. It doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah, when more of them come into the game and they become like the new best in slot item that, you're doing bandos, someone in your party is probably going to have the scythe. They might go up because they're going to be used more, right? You never know.
Yep.
And it's also interesting to see with some of the streamers and some of the other teams running the raids, these items are a lot more common than what Chambers of Xeric is.
Yep.
It almost looks like it's a 1 in 8 chance with your party to get an item. We don't have the numbers yet, but from what people are seeing.
Yeah, it's always good to just go to the RuneScape site, look at the GE, try and find like fuck, am I near like the 6-month peak? If so, get away from that item. Like sell them, don't buy them. They're going to crash soon. In fact, put a buy in for something like lower than the average. Like just like, I'm just going to put in a buy for way cheaper and everyone's going to panic and dump. Like you got to like go against the grain, I guess, if you're flipping half the time. If you're doing like those kinds of like high number flips, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really worried about, I put my whole cash stack in some items and it's like,
The more I talk about it, the more anxiety I get.
well, like the thing is that like I won't be PVMing for a while, I'll be skilling, so I have a lot of time to like cross my fingers. I'll make a note about it, but when I go to sell, I'll let you know exactly what I do with it before, because I can do some things with it.
Okay.
If that's not, that's probably giving away a little bit of what I'm doing, but
I have no idea what you're talking about.
okay, good. I'll be mysterious. I'll keep you guys, enticed for the next episode. 'Cause you never know. Maybe I'm at the duel arena trying to make up my losses. I just got burnt.
Yeah. So some of the examples that Deegan gave there, hopefully people aren't listening and being like, oh, I'm going to go merch that specific example. Just notice patterns for your own item. You know what I mean? We don't want to be held accountable for somebody losing a bunch of money because they tried to flip some super restores, but these are examples to see the trends in the markets, and you can take that example and place it on other items that you come up with yourself.
Yeah.
But anyways, hopefully, Willard, you do end up making some money off of that, because those are some big stacks there. But you know what? Let us know in the future what exactly happens when you decide to dump them, whether you made money or you lost money.
Yeah. Hopefully you make bank, and if not, let us know what you learned.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
There are lessons, like that's why I don't know. My best advice is to if you want to learn how to flip, go watch like Black Desert Online videos on how to play. Like go watch another game with an intense market and like look and just extrapolate the information from that. Don't look at RuneScape videos, because streamers will be like, yo, flip you saplings. This happened to me when I was like just starting out. Yo, flip you saplings, they're fucking crazy. And then I lose like 5 mil and I'm like, well, what the hell? How did he told me to flip it? And then I like look at the GE and it's like, oh, everyone watched this guy's video and he just fucked us all. And now I'm stuck with all these saplings that I had to hold on to them for like half a year and sell them to make my money back.
Yeah.
This was like years ago. This was like fucking years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, where take the example, but don't use the example. Take it and learn from and then place that knowledge onto another item.
Look at updates, look at what the community wants and needs, try and base your decisions off that. And if you're doing, there's short-term and long-term flips. And there's also like, how would you phrase, like, everyone's like, the risk they're willing to take? The comfortable risk area. You gotta find like what you're comfortable potentially losing or like having locked up in items you're flipping.
If you ever pay attention to the cryptocurrency markets, that's common advice. Never spend more than what you're willing to lose 100% on.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a little bit more merch talk, but I think it's fair enough for us to move on to the ways you guys can get in contact with us. The same old shit you hear every single time. If you want to hang out with us in-game, it is WildCC. If you want to contact us on Twitter, tell us about your merching stories,
escapades.
Yeah, anything like that. If you got some fun.
Keep in mind, all I'm doing is skilling, so I'm really enjoying like merching. I think it's fun. It's very interesting, so I'm always down to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it doesn't even have to be related to merching. If you have some PVM story or whatever it is, let us know. We'll talk about it. Our Twitter is at TheWildernessRS. Facebook is facebook.com/TheWildernessPodcast. Our email is TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com. And we have
Which in Twitter, DeadMan.
Yeah, there it is.
Just in case they started to click off at that point, I had to throw it in.
right at the tune-off point.
Yeah.
And then our Discord, posted on both Twitter and Facebook. Let us know if you have problems. We'll get you in there. One day, maybe we'll get the partnership to have our own unique link. So you can just type in discord.gg/wildboys. But for now, that is not the case.
Actually, you know what? Tweet Discord and be like, hey, can these guys get a link? They blocked me. I've done it too many times.
You're just blocked by anyone that's actually important for the show.
I'm pretty much, my Twitter is just me. I think everybody's blocked me. And I'm just tweeting to myself.
Yeah. You're just blacklisted on Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's it. I guess we can basically skedaddle out of here. But before we go, the song of the week for this one is The Maidens Sorrow. It is the song that is played as soon as you enter the Maiden of Sugadinti, the very first boss of Theater of Blood.
Yep.
All right, guys. Take care.
Next
Thanks
week,
for listening.
County Jig. Or Country Jig.
That's right. That's,
have you heard the wait? Have you heard the Zia song? Or not Zia, the Zara song? Coil?
That's a great song.
Fucking awesome. Anyways.
It's actually enjoyable. I played it a few times just on YouTube and I'm just chilling out.
Yeah. I invite some hot date over. Put on some tunes.
Yeah.
Put on Coil.
Sit there reminisce about your Zulrah journeys.
Yeah. Say, hey babe, you want to see my prophet snake?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right, have a good one.
Toodaloo.
Got venomed a couple times.